Hey guys, welcome in. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for being with us. Man, do we have a big show coming up for you today. Here in just a little bit, about 9:25-ish, Greg Ballard, former mayor of Indianapolis, he will be with us. Big announcement regarding his independent campaign for Secretary of State. And look, we have said this from the beginning, and I think especially after today, you're all going to be believers. If there's one guy in Indiana politics I would not doubt, it is Greg Ballard. Yeah, I said this from the very beginning when they announced he was going to launch that independent bid, and there was all the huffing and all the puffing from the Republicans. And I mean, wasn't it great how quickly they turned on the supposed gold standard? You know, for years, guys like, look, and I'm not even that big of a Ballard fan politically. Like, I've been very critical of how Ballard ran the city on some stuff for years. Now, I think in a lot of the core things, he was pretty good. He was infinitely better than the guy there today. There's no doubt about that. But for years, I was told by the Republican establishment, Rob, you don't get it. Red mayor, blue city, shut up and be glad it's happening. He's the gold standard. Everybody loves Greg. And then as soon as Ballard announced this independent run for Secretary of State, he turned into essentially AOC. Oh, he was so left. Oh, he was. All I used to hear during Ballard is big tent. This is what we need. We need more of this. You don't understand. And then as soon as he ran for Secretary of State as an independent, everybody came to the side of Rob Kendall. And what I told everybody from the beginning was I said, do not sleep on this guy. Do not doubt this guy. And if anybody, one, is going to be able to pull off getting the signatures, which don't kid yourself, that is a Herculean task. Greg Ballard getting those signatures is going to be so impressive because the Republicans and Democrats have by design made it virtually impossible for any regular person to run for public office statewide unless it's under one of their banners. And Greg Ballard is going to be the first guy in state history to crack that code with a legitimate chance to win. Is it an uphill climb for him to win? Of course. Are the odds stacked against him? Of course. Does he have a lot of big-time competitive disadvantages like straight ticket voting? Of course. But I've said from the beginning that if there's one guy who in the history of this state you would say, don't bet against him, it's Greg Ballard. What Greg Ballard did in 2007, look, I think what Greg Ballard did in 2007 was probably a tougher climb than what he's being asked to do now or what he's trying to do now. And I know, like you're saying, well, that was a local election. It was a mayor's election, and it was, this is a statewide election, and the Republicans, they weren't as irrelevant then as they are today in Indianapolis, and all that's true. But the position, like if you just said in 2006, the position of strength that Bart Peterson had, I think that gets lost to time. I think a lot of people weren't around then. People who were around then, many of them have unfortunately, they passed away. It was 20 years ago. The people who were involved. I think the understanding of where Bart Peterson was in 2006, a lot of people thought Bart Peterson was not only going to run against Mitch Daniels in 2008, given we were starting to understand that was probably going to be a Democrat year, a lot of people thought he could become governor of the state of Indiana. And for an unknown, obscure military vet, just 1 year later, to defeat Bart Peterson with the massive institutional and monetary advantages that Bart Peterson had, only Greg Ballard would have been able to do that. And I think after today, when you listen to this interview and the announcement that Greg Ballard has, and you hear this interview today, I think there's a lot of similarities. Now, again, I'm not sitting here saying Greg Ballard's going to win. But I think the magic of 2007 and the goodwill that the Greg Ballard name still carries, I think it would be a fool's errand for anybody on either party to sleep on Greg Ballard. Because one of the things that's not being talked about is the potential of Greg Ballard. Because everybody's talking about Ballard's going to pull from the Republicans. Ballard's going to pull votes from the Republicans. Yes, I think he will. I think the majority of Greg Ballard's voters will either be people who are fed up with the Republican Party or independents. But you also can't underestimate the amount of votes Greg Ballard is likely to pull from Buc-ee in his voter stronghold, which is Marion County. In order for Buc-ee to have a chance to win, he's got to do a couple things. And first among them is he's got to clean up in Marion County. He has to run up the score big time in Marion County. He's got to do the same in Monroe County. He's got to do the same in Lake County. But first and foremost, he's got to do it in Marion County. He's also got to obviously do well in these bluer trending cities and towns like Carmel, Zionsville. And I think he will. It would not surprise me at all on election night if Buc-ee wins Carmel. Not in the least. Hell, I think Destiny Wells won Carmel in 22. But the number one thing Buc-ee has to do is he's got to run up the score in Marion County. And I think Greg Ballard makes that very difficult. And so stick around. That's coming up here in just a little bit. Greg Ballard will join us. Huge announcement about his independent candidacy for Secretary of State. And whether you're a Republican, you're Democrat, you're whatever, you should be cheering for Greg Ballard to get on the ballot because it will make that race infinitely more interesting. And he will make both of those candidates, the two primary candidates, Buc-ee and the ferryman, infinitely better. One of the problems with our elections is our candidates don't get held to account in this state because the Democrats have been so inept, Republicans don't fear losing to them. And they don't really have to work. They don't really have to show up. I mean, look, Diego Morales didn't even show up to the debates in 2022. he got rewarded for not showing up to the debates. That is not going to be taking place in 2026 if Greg Ballard is on the ballot, which after today, I think we'll probably be able to put that to rest. So stick around for that coming up in a little bit. But first, the big story yesterday was that Mike Braun, governor of the state of Indiana, removed Andy Zay as the head of the IURC, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. Now, several news outlets had an article about this, big articles about this. It's a huge deal. We'll work from the Indiana Capital Chronicle if you want to read it. So let's give a little background on this of what happened. Mike Braun appointed 3 people to the IURC earlier this year. And those 3 people are now in charge. Well, it's a 5-member board. Essentially, the 3 people he had appointed, if they stayed together in a block, would be a majority on setting policy related to utilities in the state of Indiana, a variety of utility policies. First and foremost, that affect most of us, the prices they can charge. So Braun had a complete opportunity to remake that board. He had the majority appointments. Now, one of them had to be a Democrat, but it doesn't matter. Democrat, Republican, whatever. Braun had the ability to remake that board in his image. And if indeed, as Braun espoused, that affordability, keep using that word affordability. If affordability is his top priority and price of utility is the top issue when it relates to the affordability with utilities, right? The price that the utility can charge, then he had the opportunity to force any candidate he was going to choose to look him right in the eye and pledge to him, I will never raise the rates. If never raising rates was his actual top priority, he had the opportunity to have every candidate that he interviewed or that he was given the list of. Because remember, there was an interview process. There was a commission that narrowed it down on each of the 3 seats to a list of names, and then he chose from those names. He had every opportunity to publicly espouse and make these candidates, pledge to or whatever, I won't raise rates. He never did that. He never publicly pounded his fist and said, any person in order to be considered for this position must pledge to me and pledge to Hoosiers they're not going to approve any rate increases. He never did that. And why would he? Because for all the huffing and puffing and hot air from Braun about utilities and utility price, don't forget just last year, Braun signed a bill that allows utilities to recover up to 80% of their research and development on totally unproven technology. SMR, small modular reactors, nuclear, hasn't powered anywhere in the country. But now utilities in Indiana can pass those costs up to 80% on to consumers, rate increases. Braun signed that bill last year. You don't get to tell me you're super concerned about the price of stuff when you enable a bill that is definitely going to raise rates on most people. And by the way, can you think of any other business where, whether it works or not, the cost gets passed on to the consumer? Can you think of any other industry where that happens? The answer is no. But the utilities can do it because they bought and sold the politicians in this state. 100%. Look at the amount of money the big 5 for-profit utilities in Indiana spend on politicians. Donations, giving to the Indiana, the IEDC's foundation that funds the travel of the politicians, Indiana Economic Development Foundation. Too many acronyms. It's trying to replace IEDC with IEDF. The IEDF, the Indiana Economic Development Foundation. And the amount the utilities have given to that. Our politicians, our government is bought and sold by the utilities. It's why they have the monopolies. It's why they get to keep raising rates. It's why they get this special legislation. And we told you from the beginning, when this whole process of appointing these new people was going on, that Braun doesn't actually care about affordability. If he did, he wouldn't have signed that bill. That bill's definitely going to raise rates for most people because most of the utilities are going to take full advantage of it. Why wouldn't they? It's a great business move. So Braun appoints these three people to the board. One of them is former state senator Andy Zay. Now, Andy Zay accomplished basically nothing while he was a state senator. He was perfect for the Indiana General Assembly. His big claim to fame was he kept trying to pass the tenderloin as the state sandwich. Because Lord knows, of all the pressing issues in our state, getting the tenderloin as the title of state sandwich was going to cure all of our ills. Didn't want to deal with property taxes or, like we mentioned, utility bills or brazen corruption at the IEDC or, our roads are completely in shambles. No. State sandwich, baby. State sandwich. And we said from the moment he picked Andy Zay, we said Braun is not serious about affordability. Why? Because he picked an institutionalist. You can't pick someone who is of the system that you are lamenting, who has not done anything to fix the system you're lamenting, and then expect the system to change. We told you from the moment he picked Andy Zay, nothing was going to change. And why would any rational person think that it would? So fast forward, AES comes to the IURC and asks for a massive rate increase. AES is the power provider for Marion County. And AES is loathed by its consumer base. People of Indianapolis hate AES. They hate it. They hate them. And Zay sides with two other board members to vote in favor of a rate increase for AES. And Braun feigns outrage. And I'm looking at this like, you are either the dumbest person alive or you are just so full of it. How did you not know this guy was going to do this? He was part of crafting laws to create the very system you claim to hate. But this is what Braun always does. Braun recognizes people are angry about a problem. He does something that won't actually fix the problem because he doesn't really want it fixed because Braun, see the dirty secret on Braun, he's an institutionalist too. Look at the last, 12 years of his life? What are they? I mean, you go further back, if you go to school board, 12, 15 years of his life. School board, state rep, senator, governor. That's the track record of a politician. Braun is an insider. He is an institutionalist. I mean, hell, we've caught him red-handed trying to use the power of state government to fund the multi-billion-dollar road in southwest Indiana that the people down there hate that would benefit his business. What the hell would you call it? So it makes sense that one institutionalist, Braun, would appoint another institutionalist, Zay, to this board. It doesn't surprise me, but I'm not going to let Braun get away with saying, oh, my number one issue is affordability. Bull. So Zay approves this rate increase, as everyone knew he would. Everyone knew he was going to do. And then Braun freaks out. And yesterday, he put out a tweet saying this. Effective immediately, I am naming Anthony Swinger the new chairman of the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. Affordability is my top priority, and I'm confident Chairman Swinger will deliver on that priority for Hoosiers. So he is removing Andy Zay as head of the IURC board. Now, he's not removing him from the board. He's removing him as the head of the board. So it doesn't really change anything because Zay's still got a vote. All this did was effectively cut Zay's salary from $163,000 to $152,000. So he basically fined or punished Andy Zay by $11,000 for agreeing to raise rates for AES. Hey, congratulations, AES users. You got $70 million in tax increases. Zay got fined $11,000, essentially. What a deal, right? He's still going to make $152,000, which our Paladin reporter pulled his salary as a state senator. He's making $85,000, according to Indy Reporter. So he still got almost a $70,000 raise. He got an $80,000 raise for half a year, and now it's $70,000. So, what a punishment. This is ridiculous. It's not going to change anything. By the way, when we're talking about how much money these people make, by statute, they only have to make $65,000 a year. We're paying these people $90,000 and $100,000 extra above what they have to make by statute. Hey, no money for you with property taxes, but there's 100 large extra laying around for each of these 5 commissioners. Now, what's really interesting about this, and after the show today, you guys can go back and hear this. Nikki Kelly from the Capitol Chronicle was on with us last week, and we asked her about, because Braun, before he removed Zay, was talking about how upset he was with the vote. And I asked Nikki Kelly about this, and she backed me up on this. I said, a lot of this is just grandstanding, right? It's virtue signaling. Because there's laws around what the IURC has to do. Laws put in place by people like, senators who was one of those? Oh, Andy Zay was one of those. There's laws and requirements these IURC board members have to abide by, or they'll get sued by the utility. Now, Braun's so clueless about anything that's going on, he may not know that. And I asked her, I said, in many ways, they're not helpless. They can do what they want to do, but by the letter of the law, there's a bunch of stuff they have to do. She said, you're absolutely right. And I said, if you're going to fix that, that has to come from legislation from the General Assembly and the governor. She's like, yes, absolutely. Oh, totally. 100%. So this is like remember the 80s when George Steinbrenner was the owner of the Yankees and he kept firing managers, sometimes from one week to the next? George Steinbrenner would spend all this money on these players. He would pick the players. He was effectively the general manager of the team. Billy Martin. And there were a whole bunch of other guys. He kept firing Billy and bringing him back. That's what this is. You created the team, Governor Braun. You picked the players. You picked the players who are on the field. You can't bitch that they're doing what everybody should have known they were going to do. Everybody knew what Andy Zay was. Anybody can look at his voting record, who he is. It's ridiculous. It's total hypocrisy for you to now act surprised that he did what from the moment they pointed this guy we were saying he was going to do, which is raise rates. Now, what gets really interesting on this is one of the commissioners, after Braun made the announcement, David Valletta, posted on LinkedIn right after Braun demoted Zay. Listen to this. After 17 years in the IURC, the last force commissioner, I'm ready for what's next. He basically posted an open for work sign on LinkedIn. Much of my recent work is focused on The issues reshaping the grid, large loads and data center growth, cost allocation, and PGA market and governance. If you're working on these questions or in energy, regulation, and policy more broadly, I'd love to talk. That sounds like he's quitting. Like he's telling people, someone hire me. I got to get out of here. Neither Braun's office nor Valletta confirmed he had resigned. And the fifth guy on the board, David Zeigner, was first appointed to the commission in 1990 by Evan Bayh. That guy's been there so long, Evan Bayh's son, who didn't even exist on Earth when he was appointed, is running for Secretary of State. He's been there since I was 6. What are we doing? What are we doing? This shouldn't surprise anyone. Braun is not a serious person. He should have absolutely known what was going to happen. Absolutely know what was going to happen. Hey, guys, couple of show notes, couple of housekeeping items you can really do to help us out. If you like what you're hearing today, if you like what you're seeing, 3 things you could do. We call it like, share, and subscribe. First part, like it. Give us that thumbs up, whether you're watching us live or on demand. Like the feed. Give us that thumbs up. Wherever you're at, if you're all with us live or on demand on YouTube, if you're on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you're at, share our feed out. If you got a Facebook, if you got a Twitter, let people know about the Rob Kendall Show. Our growth is organic. And last, whatever platform you're checking us out on, subscribe to the channel. Oh, and by the way, if you're on Apple, give us that 5-star review. Leave us a positive review if you're feeling super, super generous. Like, share, and subscribe. Help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. Couple other things. If you like this program on the internet, we're even more dynamic in person. And you can see us in person June the 27th, Saturday. Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood. One-man live show. It's our opportunity to give back and say thank you to you. An intimate evening together. The greatest audience in the world. And you get to meet producer Jason. It's our chance to give back and say thanks to you, the fabulous folks who've been with us now for almost 17 weeks. What episode is this?
81, 82.
We're more than 81. We're 81 episodes in. And so this is our opportunity to meet you guys in person. We're going to entertain you. We'll make you laugh. And you get to meet all the other fabulous people that are part of this great Rob Kendall Show community. Get your tickets now. Head over to robkendallshow.com. robkendallshow.com. We got a big link up at the top of the page. Come join us. Hang out with us. Have a blast. June the 27th, Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood. And last but certainly not least, speaking of robkendallshow.com, if you haven't been there, check it out. We've got the live link there. We've got all of our podcasting links. If you're like, I wonder if they're on such and such platform, they're all listed right there. We've got articles each day that we post based on our favorite segments that we do on the program. You can read those. And last but certainly not least, we've got a support button. If you like what we do, if you'd inherited a massive amount of money, anywhere from $1 to $10 million, we accept it. Show support of the show, support button, click it, help us out, robkendallshow.com. Hey guys, do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All American Dog Fence. All American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime you're outside. All American Dog Fence is locally owned. Owners Kelly and Jeff, they have 3 dogs of their own. They believed in All American Dog Fence so much they bought the business. How about that for a testimonial? All American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products, designed and manufactured in the United States with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606. 317-862-6606, or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off. Rob Kendall Show, you get $200 off. All American Dog Fence, 317-862-6606. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Greg Ballard, former mayor of Indianapolis, he'll be with us. big announcement about his campaign for Secretary of State. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties. I would love to get to know you. I know that buying and selling a home is a really big deal. You need a plan in place so you can succeed. And that's where I come in. If you are buying, let me help you find that perfect home. And if you are selling, let me help you find that perfect buyer. Look, we're all Rob Kendall Show fans here. That's why I'd love to get to know you. I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties, an Army veteran and a Hoosier through and through. Call me at 317-590-2290, 317-590-2290.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK, 812-33-BRICK.
Welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. We are joined by the most interesting man in Indiana politics and government these days, the former mayor of Indianapolis, Greg Ballard, running for Secretary of State as an independent, joins us now. Mr. Mayor, hello.
How you doing, Rob?
Look, I said this from the beginning. I said there's no way Ballard is going to embark on any endeavor unless he knows that he's going to get those signatures. And holy smokes, you guys earlier this morning released a new total because you did 52,000 at the convention.
Right.
And then I was like, look, they probably got way more than that. And today the number is over 64,000 signatures. That's awesome.
Yeah, 64,183 as we speak that we know of that has been turned in already. So it's a good number, still growing. We're actually sprinting till the end of the month. We are going to keep going.
It's fascinating because your story is the guy that everybody doubted that shocked the world in 2007.
Right.
And how much of that have you relied on as you've entered into this endeavor? Because it's the same doubt, the same underestimation.
It's unbelievable how much this feels very, very similar.
Yeah.
The difference for me is there's a lot of infrastructure behind this even before I got involved. So that was the good part about all this. It really has helped me, though, because I almost equate everything back to 2007 because this feels like that. When I talk to people, it just, when the main thing that I hear is, thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
That's the main sentiment. Oh, my God, that's so similar to 2007 and the feeling that people had in Indianapolis at that time. And we're getting that feeling all across the state. Thank you for doing this. So, and also I don't get freaked out. I know this is going to be fine, right?
Yeah.
We have to work at it. It doesn't happen by itself, but there's a lot of people working at it right now.
Okay, so you obviously have had to put all this together from scratch, right? And you've done it in 3.5 months. Talk a little bit about putting this organization together to seemingly do the impossible, which is acquire the signatures necessary to get on the ballot to run for statewide office.
Again, some infrastructure behind it. You have to understand Nathan Gotch has done a tremendous job organizing so much of this.
Whatever you're paying him, you need to double that.
So
holy smokes.
It's been working pretty good in that regard, and we have to give a lot of credit. There's a lot of volunteers out there that are helping also, but we're open about this. It's a combination between we have contractors doing this, and we also have volunteers doing this. So I think that's why we've been so successful at this. It's worked out really, really well, and people are telling us on the back end of this is, boy, this is an easy signature to get.
Yeah. Well, so because it was interesting. I hope you don't mind this. I did a little eavesdropping one day. Your guys were at the Brownsburg Walmart, and I pretended to be playing the little thing where you put the dollar in and you put the hand down and pulls a prize out for you. And I listened for about 10 minutes, and several people signed, and I listened to the sales pitch your people were giving, and it did seem like everybody was very accepting, and they recognized your name, which was a big deal.
Yeah, not all of the signatures, but a large number of the signatures are Central Indiana, where the name recognition is still very, very high. But they're also from St. Joseph County and all around the state. We got I don't know how many counties right now, but probably close to 30, 40 counties involved right now. But most of it's Central Indiana, so we feel comfortable in that regard.
Are you surprised at how much pushback? Like the Republicans are like, well, he had to pay for his signatures. Like, how else would they expect you to do that without a professional firm? That was wild to me that's what they went to, is he had to pay somebody to help him get the signatures.
Because they put such a punitive obstacle
right
in front of us.
Yeah. That's totally.
They don't
the
want
deal,
anybody to get in their game, and they made that obstacle so punitive, so onerous, so that no one could cross it. But we're going to cross it, and we've got 64,000 people right now that say they want my name on there. So that's funny that they would say that.
Yeah.
It really is, because they created this, and it's not even close to what other states do. This number is so higher than what most other states around us do.
We read that one day on the air about, it's like 20,000 higher than some states. How much of this for you, this campaign, obviously I'm sure you want to win, but it's just about exposing how anti-inclusive, anti-involvement our ballot access laws are.
It is terrible.
Yeah.
And the more you read about it, and the more you study it, if you will, and we're helping other people study it as part of our presentation, frankly. And then the nominee from the Republican Party says, let's close the primaries and make it even worse for people to have choice. Oh, my God. What are they thinking? Only 1 in 5 can run for office now, and then they want to close the primaries. There's just so many obstacles in the way for voters to have real choices at the ballot box, and it's pretty clear that neither party wants to improve upon that. But we have found the way. We found that little path that will allow that to happen, not just this year, but in the future.
It's exactly what you did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's just the same thing, right? Like, except, you're getting signatures now instead of going to churches. But okay, so you were in Fort Wayne on Saturday.
Yes.
And I said on Twitter, I said, that's my guy. That's the greatest troll move ever. So you go to the Rib Fest, you put out a video, and then you wait until literally moments after the Republicans pick their winner, and then you're like, well, that's cute. I'm going to have a press conference. Hey, here's 52,000 signatures. Right. That is the sort of in-your-face troll move, sticking it to the party thing. I like. Why did you guys decide to do that?
I think you just explained that. It was almost, I don't want to say it was too easy, but it was kind of easy, and we knew they were going to be up there. And I'm not mad at anybody.
Yeah.
I heard this morning on a radio on another show that I'm mad at the Republican Party. I'm not mad at the Republicans or the Democrats. I just think voters need more choices. But going up there on Saturday was so much fun. We were texting people. I and Nathan were both texting people inside the convention while it was going on. And I know quite a few of those people at that convention are going to vote for me.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
They were signing your form on the way out.
They were. But even before that, I mean, there were people who wanted to help us, but they couldn't because they were a convention delegate, and they wanted to wait to after the convention.
My favorite was you got a close-up of a guy in a Shelton shirt signing your form. I was like, that's awesome.
That was a really good picture, wasn't it?
That's great. Again, total troll move. That's awesome. I love that.
That's a great picture. But lots of, I have friends in there. We were texting back and forth, and again, happening with Nathan too. And we're not being mean. None of that was going on.
No, it's all fair game.
We're just being nice to each other. Hey, what's happening? And they're asking me. And there was one part in there where some people apparently thought that if Max got the nomination, then I was going to drop out.
Why would you do that?
Why would I do that? Exactly.
Yeah.
I texted back and said, there's zero chance that's happening. I said, I'm in this to win it. I'm not doing this just for myself. This is for the people of Indiana.
Yeah,
That's
I got to say,
about.
When you started, because Nathan and I had this conversation numerous times, and he's like, Ballard can win. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I hope he gets a 10%. He's like, Ballard can win. Maybe it's because of what you did the first time, but when you see that 64,000 number, okay, you've got me believing now, right? Like, that's almost double. Now, some of them will get thrown out, right? You may not end up with 64,000 as the verified number.
I know, yeah.
But you're going to blow past the 37,000 number. I want to see them try to refute whatever the number is to get it down, right?
This is, some people don't quite get this. What we're hearing, not just around here, but around the state and the way people are talking to us, this is just on the edge of a movement as opposed to just a candidacy. People are really upset. They're really upset. You know the number. 41% of the people see themselves as independent.
Yeah.
There's something there. Now they actually have somebody to vote for.
Do you believe that number?
I do believe that.
A lot of people huff and puff about, I hate the Democrats, I hate the Republicans, and they always vote for one of them. You're going to be the first chance they've ever really had.
Right.
You have name ID, you have money, you have organization, because there's always some excuse, right? He's not going to raise any money. Nobody knows who he is. He doesn't have a campaign team. You're going to have all of those things.
Yes, but we won't have straight.
That's right.
Still have straight ticket voting.
That's right.
And so we'll have to train people to not do that. And people have been really only having two choices in most of these races. And I know you've done this. I've done this several times when I've gone to the voting booth. These are my two choices.
Yeah.
Oh my, that's it. That's all I got. So we have and they're used to having to pick. Kind of choking it down and picking somebody. Now they don't have to do that, but we have to train them to do that. I think there's a little piece of that in there.
Are you surprised the Republicans went with England? Let me ask you this. Are you surprised the Diego people rolled over and gave it to England?
We were hearing different things. So I didn't really know.
Do you have a preference?
No, not really. But I will tell you, Dave Shelton.
He would have been hard for you to war on against.
He's worked for a year, knows all about elections.
Yeah.
And he was not the guy.
They told him no thanks.
I don't know what to say about that. And then they just crowned somebody. That's what they did.
I mean, I would have, and I've told Bai this too. I think Shelton would have been very hard for either one of you guys to run against.
I think that's probably true. It would have been hard to message against him because he's a decent guy.
Yeah.
He works hard. He's a self-described election nerd.
Yeah.
And so maybe that would have been, it would have been, certainly would have been a different tack. We probably would have figured something out there, but it would have been a different tack now. But this goes to what happened. Frankly, both parties, both were crowned.
Yeah.
Both were crowned. And the people didn't have much of a voice. 1,000 people voted for Bo Bai and 1,000 or whatever voted for Max Engling. Right now, I got 64,000 people saying something else.
Somebody said this to me on Saturday. They go, congratulations, you took out Diego. I said, I didn't take out Diego. Greg Ballard took out Diego. Yeah, I mean, you see that, right? If you had not entered this race, Diego's the nominee.
Yes, I believe that.
100%.
100%. I absolutely believe that.
And you know me, I never give up credit for anything.
Right.
But I didn't take out Diego. You took out Diego. I've been at him for 4 years. I couldn't get anywhere.
So the incumbent won't be there, and it looks like we're going to get on the ballot.
Yeah.
I won't say that until we're actually on the ballot, but it looks like we're going to get there. So that's 2 wins within a few months.
What do you do with all those signatures? Like, do you wheelbarrow them in? Do you bring them in a Brinks truck? Like, what do you...
We have a plan.
Yeah, I hope so. I want to be there. Like, if you can give me a heads up,
we have a plan.
I want to be there because I want to laugh at all those Republicans in the Statehouse.
I hope the weather's good that day.
I mean, it is. I've said this. And I mean, we opened the show with that. I think it's absolutely true. You have the ability to be the most important, perhaps, figure in Indiana political history based on how well you do. Other than just the office itself, obviously getting the 10% with the primary ballot access, you can change everything. You're my dream, Greg Ballard. I've waited for you forever.
Well, I'm the most interesting man was good, and I haven't had Dos Equis in a while, so I won't go there. But the reason I'm in this, the potential for impact across the state of Indiana was so large, and that's really why I'm sitting in this seat today. It's such a large potential impact. Win this race, things really change. I'm in this to win it. I mean, people have to know that.
I get asked this a lot. What is the Lincoln Party? Because people say, like, would I want to be that? They're like, what are the values? I was like, it doesn't matter. We got to get him on the ballot first, and we'll figure, like, how would that even work? How does it work?
It's, first of all, you know why we have to do it, right? Because if I win and want to do this again in 4 years
Right.
as an independent, I got to get these signatures again.
Right.
I have to go get 37,000 more signatures. So if you have a party, you don't have to do that.
Right.
So that's why you form the party. Get 2%, you're in it for the next 4 years for every race in Indiana.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Right.
So
And 10 is you get in the primary, which is millions of dollars of free advertising.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So all of that. So the funny thing is the Republicans are, I can tell they're scared, angry, whatever that may be. I'm not mad at them.
Right.
I'm not mad at them at all. But for instance, if there's a race where maybe there's a problematic Democrat,
Yeah.
we can do something similar to what's happening right now in the future.
You guys are like the ultimate free agents.
Yes.
You're like
So if you have
something
a
out of Kill Bill or something.
you're problematic, and then if in the future if we go there, but that's the potential is there. We haven't really thought about that, but if you think through this, that makes a lot of sense to get rid of the people who are not doing a good job in office, that are not.
Love that.
So we want people that we can be proud of, the people that are problem solvers.
Yeah.
That's who we want in office.
Like, there may not even be a core set of things. It's just like, if there are people who are not behaving properly, we'll recruit a candidate to deal with that person, and we'll take you down.
Instead of being one candidate, one person for that office, now there will be 3 people for that office.
I love that even more. I like that. It could be a Wild West. You could have a more liberal leaning person in one race, a more conservative, and I love that.
So, because of gerrymandering, there's only one candidate.
Yeah.
Now there'll be 3.
This is
if
like,
we decide to do
you guys
this.
are going to be like the George Costanza party. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. I love that.
But we're going to have 3 solid ones right now.
Yeah.
In this race.
Yeah.
And my job and my instinct is, and everything I'm going to do in the next 4.5 months is to win this race. That's what I'm trying to do. And then everything else, we'll see what happens after that. But the potential impact on this is enormous.
All right, so a week left, right? Week left.
They have to week for us to gather them. They have to be done verifying them by July 15th.
Yeah, okay.
But they've got most of them.
Have you and I want to have you back once you're on, because then I want to talk about the platform. I want to talk about I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse.
Sure.
But I did, and we're honored that you came on. This is your first interview since your big announcement, to share that with us about those numbers that you put out just a little bit ago this morning. And I just want to thank you for running, because I've said this for years. All it would take is one viable third-party person for the whole cabal to fall over. And you've proven it with basically like $250,000 to get those signatures. You're in. Like, you're the perfect guy. Everybody likes you. Great name ID. Raise a bunch of money. It's perfect. It's great.
Well,
I don't know if you came up with the scheme or Nathan did, but whoever is,
I'm going to give it a little bit more credit to Nathan on that.
Yeah.
One, to be fair, to be frank about that. But it has the potential is enormous, and we're doing everything we can to win this race. It's kind of funny when people still talk about Buc-ee and whoever the Republican candidate is, and that's what. Okay, good. I was dismissed in 2007 quite a bit.
That's great,
and I'm okay with that too. But I after 64,000, and then on the ballot, hopefully that happens here shortly. Then the game changes.
Yeah, between you and this could be the greatest. We called it the summer of Rob. This could be the greatest summer of my life, watching the Republicans implode. It could be awesome. Mr. Mayor, thank you for doing this. Thanks for sharing with us. If people want to know more about you and what you're doing, how could they do that?
GregBallard.com.
There you go. Very simple. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the Central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's a Rob Kendall Show, man. That was a fascinating interview. 60,000+ signatures. 64,000 signatures now by Greg Ballard. Unbelievable. We'll talk about that interview here in just a moment. First, though, hey, many homeowners, they're sitting on more equity than they realize. If you've owned your home for a few years, now may be a good time to explore your options. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage is a local mortgage advisor helping Central Indiana homeowners refinance to access cash for home improvements, consolidate higher interest debt, or simply review whether a better loan structure is available. Gary believes every homeowner deserves a personalized mortgage view, not a one-size-fits-all solution from a call center. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more. Loansbygary.homes to learn more. Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 179207, equal housing lender. All right. There's massive controversy about Buc-ee's coming to Greenwood, which is fascinating to me. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's talk about that interview with Ballard. Obviously, the top line, the big announcement, 64,000 signatures. Guys, they're not throwing out 27,000 signatures. Okay? And it doesn't mean that by the time it gets to the state that they're going to have 64,000. But let's just say they can get 50,000 to the state. They're not throwing out 13,000 signatures. Greg Ballard's going to be on the ballot this fall. And that means for the first time, I mean, in my life, you're going to have a legitimate, viable, independent, third party, whatever you want to call them, candidate for office. And I think a lot of us were hoping, especially after 2020, that was going to be the Libertarians. Look, nobody did more to help Donald Rainwater than me. I mean, 100,000 of those votes, I think he'll acknowledge that, came from me. And I was very optimistic that campaign was going to make the Libertarian Party finally become a serious, viable third-party alternative, which we need in this state. But the Libertarian Party, and it's not all libertarians. There's some great people in the Libertarian Party. I think people like Mark Rutherford, Jeremiah Morrill, people like that, they're phenomenal people. But they're not calling the shots. And the Libertarian Party did not capitalize on the opportunity. They had a great opportunity with Jeff Moore for Secretary of State in 2022. They wasted it. He was a good candidate. They got 5.5%, well short of their goal of 10. They didn't fundraise. They didn't organize. They didn't do anything. And it has just been a recession ever since then. I mean, Rainwater's campaign didn't deliver in 2024. Are they even running anybody other than Secretary? I think they've got a comptroller candidate. Do they even have a treasurer candidate? Like you can't. At some point, you got to say, okay, we got to look somewhere else. You've got to grab the opportunity when it's given to you. We're 6 years on from the opportunity being given to them. At some point, you just got to say, it ain't working. Like it hasn't worked, other than a party that maintains ballot access for what, the better part of 30 years now. And so Greg Ballard, when we talk about the core things, when you hear people say, well, I'd vote for a third party, but what do you usually hear? Well, I don't see him anywhere. Like, he didn't raise any money. Well, that's not going to be an issue with Greg Ballard, right? You're going to see Greg Ballard all over the state. He's going to raise millions of dollars. So we'll check that box, right? What else do you hear? Well, I didn't know who he was. Well, people are going to know who Greg Ballard was. He was an 8-year mayor of the largest city in our state, the state capital, and to the dismay of many, Greg Ballard is fondly remembered as the mayor. Look, there are things Ballard did that didn't work out right. There are things Ballard did that I vehemently disagree with. I spent years talking about it and was told by the party to sit down and shut up. But the collective of the state, which is what he's going to run for, what are they going to focus on? No, I don't know this for sure. But if I were them, I'd talk about what a great job he did on crime. What we wouldn't give to have the Greg Ballard crime numbers back in Indianapolis. I would talk about this is the guy that brought the Super Bowl, was the mayor of the Super Bowl. Arguably, when you talk to the media, the fan experience, maybe the greatest Super Bowl ever. Especially the game was phenomenal. A lot of people remember that Super Bowl as the greatest fan and media experience Super Bowl ever. It was a home run. Remember the weather was phenomenal? That's what people remember about the city of Indianapolis. He did a pretty good job with the finances, certainly compared to what he inherited. Look, it's very easy, and it's viable. Anybody's record should be talked about. Anybody's record of governance is fair game. But some guy in Kokomo isn't going to give two you-know-whats about Blue Indy. He's not. He didn't live here. He doesn't care. The guy in Cicero, he's not going to care about the cricket stadium. And it's going to be very hard for the Republicans to run on emphasis, which Ballard was the mayor for, fair game, because they brokered the deal. You got to see the big picture. Sometimes I think some of us who are super involved, they get so focused on the small stuff. Not saying it's small in dollars, but to some guy who lives in Huntington or Evansville or Jeffersonville, that stuff is going to mean nothing. If you are serious about accountability of the Republicans, and some people huff and puff about it and they're really not. Some people talk a lot about it, but they're really not. We're going to find out. Look, you're not going to get, unless you get someone like a John Russ to run as an independent, which thus far he's resisted doing that. Unless you get some super wealthy conservative to run as an independent, Greg Ballard's about the best you're going to do. Why? Because you got to raise money. You got to put infrastructure together. You got to put people together who know what they're doing. Look, you can say whatever you want about Ballard. Clearly, they know what they're doing. They have smashed the rules of the game. 64,000 signatures with a week to go? You know what that's doing right now? It's taking people who are on the sidelines and they're going, okay, This is real. The money, the donors, the organization, the infrastructure, the power brokers, all of those people are sitting on the sidelines right now. And they're seeing, what does this operation actually look like? They're, from an operations standpoint, 64,000 signatures, and I don't want to hear anything about, well, he paid $250,000 to do it. That's the rules that are in place. Ideally, we'd have a world where there's a very small threshold to get on the ballot to run for the government you pay. But the Republicans have written the rules where that's not. The Republicans have written the rules where that's not. And look, you can criticize the Democrats where there are Democrats. Indianapolis, Bloomington, Bueller, Lake County. And I think we do a pretty good job of telling people how much the city sucks under Hogsett and the Democrats. By the way, speaking of which, later, on Monday, I think we're going to on Monday, Jesse Brown's going to be with us. Talking about the wheel tax, talking about how he's never supporting Bo Buy. That's going to be fascinating. But Republicans run everything. He's going to run against governance. Well, other than in the city of Indianapolis, governance from a state perspective is the Republicans. And I'm sure Greg Ballard is going to be happy, given the dumpster fire and disaster of a city that Joe Hogsett has left after Ballard became mayor, to talk about his time as mayor. Look, I'm a Hoosier lifer. I've come downtown under Ballard, and I used to come downtown under Hogsett. It's night and day, guys. It's night and day. You're never, unless you run for the office, you're never going to get an idealistic candidate or a candidate that hits all of your ideals. You have to see the broader picture, which is the conversation that is now going to take place in our state because Greg Ballard is a part of that conversation. Greg Ballard is going to challenge both the Democrat and the Republican. Unlike the Republican could ever challenge the Democrat, or the Democrat could ever challenge the Republican. And yeah, he's going to take a bunch of votes from Bo Buy. He is. He'll probably take more from the Republican. But that's great. Every single one of us, if you actually care about better government, whether you vote for Ballard or not, I'm not telling you to, and I'm not committed to voting for Ballard either. I want to see what sort of campaigns these guys lay out, including the Libertarian. Look, if you're the Libertarians, though, you're hitting the panic button. And quite frankly, and again, I love many Libertarians. You deserve to. You've squandered it. Some of us worked our asses off to try to give you guys the opportunity to be a viable third party. And I'm not even a Libertarian. Although they did give me a plaque at their convention a couple of years ago, which is very nice of them. I still have it displayed. It's very nice of them. But the Libertarians are now in real danger of losing ballot access. Because look, probably maybe 1% of the state is an actual, I identify libertarian. Most libertarian votes come as non-political people or protest votes against the two parties, which is fine. It's great. I've done it many times. I'm a non-libertarian who has voted libertarian many times, including some of the aforementioned people. But those protest votes are going to be about winning now. The protest vote won't feel like a protest vote with Greg Ballard. That's not going to go to the Libertarian in most cases. It's not. The independent people, the people that don't identify political parties, they're going to be able to do that. And so the other thing Greg Ballard is going to do is he's going to make the Libertarian Party better, or there won't be a party anymore. Well, there'll be a party. They just want to have ballot access, which is also great. The Libertarians should have to work. Every party should have to work. Every candidate should have to work. No more free rides for anybody this fall because Greg Ballard's going to be in the race. And again, you can say all these things and say all of Greg Ballard's record is fair game. And if Bo Bai wants to waste time talking about Blue Indy, there's going to be a lot of pissed off Democrats because a lot of those Democrats like the blue stuff. I don't think he's going to do it. If you're going to be the Republicans and you're going to waste time talking about Ballard's record, well, a lot of the Republicans are tied to Ballard's record. So they'll be indicting themselves. It's going to be great. This will be the most entertaining race, maybe in our state's history. It's going to be great for all of us. It'll be great for our show. It'll be great for civil discourse. It'll be great for figuring out what we actually are as a state. We have heard for years, all of the people, I don't like either of the two parties. Well, why don't you vote for? No, they can't win. There ain't going to be a they can't win with Greg Ballard. So we're going to find out how many people who have for years lamented the two-party system and claimed to be independents, we're going to find out how many of them there actually are. Rare times. Great candidate for the Democrats, great independent candidate, and the Republicans are vulnerable. Once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I can't wait to see what happens. Hey, guys, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. You know, we love the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. They're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for dinner. Well, Friday and Saturday for dinner, Sunday for the brunch buffet, and this week, Friday for lunch. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, located on the water, beautiful Brazil. Opportunity for you to get away, have an evening outdoors, outdoor seating. Great made-from-scratch meals. Every one of you guys that's been to the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro has just raved about how great it is. The food, the experience, the service, the atmosphere, the decor. It's what Hoosier hospitality is supposed to be all about. The owners, Andy and Jody. Andy, of course, made our sign. Literally open up their house to you. That's where the restaurant is. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro in Brazil. Open for lunch this Friday as well. Reserve your spot today. 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003. All right, let's talk about Buc-ee's. This is crazy. So, Buc-ee's has now announced, of course, I assume every person hearing my voice knows this, but if you don't, Buc-ee's is like this gas station / convenience store / shopping world on steroids. They've got the gas stations, the charging stations, the shop, the showers, the food, all the stuff. It's like a destination. When you travel somewhere where there's a Buc-ee's, people just stop there to get their photo at the Buc-ee's. There's not one in the state of Indiana. There has now, for the first time, been one proposed as of yesterday in front of the Greenwood Planning Commission in the city of Greenwood. According to WRTV6, it'll be a 74,000 square foot facility. It's planned near I-65 and Worthsville Road. So, Jason, that's going to be right down the road from you, man. If it doesn't work out here, you go work at a Buc-ee's.
They pay $20 an hour.
They pay $20 an hour?
18.
No kidding. Did you just look that up? Did you just look that up?
No, it was in the chat. I'm a town.
Oh, okay. It's all the talk in the Greenwood Townie chat. Okay, perfect. So right near Jason's house, it went in for the Greenwood Advisory Planning Commission on Monday. Now, a reminder, the way planning commissions work with rezoning, which the Buc-ee's would need, you go to a planning commission. Planning commission is an advisory board and related to zoning matters. They don't have final say. The governing body, which in this case will be the city council, has final say. But the planning commission can make a recommendation based on interpreting statutes of land use. So, city, here's what your statutes say about, in this case, they need a zoning change from agriculture to, I think it's industrial. I think that's right. Yeah, agriculture to industrial. And based on that, and your rules and your requirements, we tell you you should or should not approve, and then the council decides. Now, as we've seen, councils can wipe their butt cheeks with those recommendations like we saw in Shelbyville with the data center. They're not bound by it. It's just a suggestion. But so the first step is you have to go in front of the Planning Commission for that advisory opinion. The project, as we said, would require a zoning change from ag to industrial. It'll bring 120 fueling stations, 42 electric vehicle charging stations. And this is where the pushback comes. Because the people of Greenwood are worried about everything it will flood into their city without a perceived benefit to the city. Hey, we got Buc-ee's. So what? Like, it's not like a tourist attraction's going to build up around the Buc-ee's. It's not like Disney World's going to locate there because Buc-ee's is there. Yeah, you're going to get people, but the people are transient. They're people who are passing through. And so this is where the pushback is coming from the community. Once you get past the politicians who want the ribbon cutting or the bright, shiny object or the groundbreaking, we, the residents, are left with this. And what does it do to the makeup of the character of our area? So David Eber, E-B-E-Y-E-R, who also lives in the area, said the development may not serve the community the way the supporters hope. Exactly. Get a reporting here from WRTV6. Quote, I know that area is going to be developed. It just needs to be developed into something that would make sense for the community, not all the people traveling, spending 20 minutes at Buc-ee's and then leaving our area. That's not really generating any revenue for Buc-ee's. Well, that is generating revenue for Buc-ee's. It's not generating sustainable revenue for the city. Right? He makes a great point. Let's talk about how taxes work for local governments. You got to be very careful when you talk about development with local governments. And the state manipulates people on this. When they talk about, oh, it'd be great, so-and-so got whatever. Income tax that people make working at a Buc-ee, so Jason's $20 an hour.
18.
Well, you'd be on the high side. Who wouldn't hire you? That goes to the state. So you, city, get nothing out of that unless your worker lives there. So Jason, you would. You get local income tax. But local income tax is where you live, not where you work. So unless you hire someone who lives in the city of Greenwood, and it's a county thing anyway, you don't get any benefit out of that. Any. That's the first thing. Sales tax goes to the state, as we know, based on how Lucas Oil Stadium was funded. The only thing that would stay local would be a food and beverage tax if you had it on select food and beverage, which I think Greenwood already has because of the stadium. Johnson County has it. So you might get some out of that based on what is being sold in the Buc-ee's. But the only thing that would generate revenue for the city of Greenwood would be the property taxes. Now, I don't know if Buc-ee's, because there's very strict rules on who's eligible for abatements, is eligible for abatement. I don't think they are, but I could be wrong. But a lot of Buc-ee's is surface area, which doesn't have much taxing value. It's open surface area for the cars to park. The actual value of the building itself would be what gets taxed. And then maybe the stuff inside the building. That's not all that much money relative to the damage it could do to the city. And that's a great point. Producer Jason said, as a Greenwood lifer, if you stop at the Buc-ee's or you go eat at the Buc-ee's, yeah, if you're living in Greenwood, then you're going to eat at Buc-ee's and you're not eating at another restaurant. You're transferring the money as far as much of what the city merchants would be concerned about. You're taking business away from local stores. I mean, these are all valid concerns these people have. It sounds wild to be like there's an uproar over Buc-ee's. But I read the article and I'm like, these people ain't wrong. These are not NIMBY people. Like, they're not my backyard people. They're like, hey, that's going to get developed. That's not the right development. I like those people. I like people that are reasonable and say, hey, we recognize that's going to be a field forever, but that's not the right thing to put there. I give validity to those people. He goes on to say, he being David Eber, all of the traffic that we have now, in addition to 11,000 people coming a week, it's going to be absolutely insane out there. Regardless of what kind of infrastructure they're going to put in, it's still going to create a massive problem. Yes. Greenwood resident Deanne Lautenbach raised concerns about the rezoning itself, warning that the approved change could open the door to broader unwanted development. Yes. They're going to play you. They're going to get it rezoned and put fast food places. They're going to put whatever they want out there because they got you to rezone it. The billionaires play off the small towns, and that's what's happening. Yes. Development in your town. And this is something people don't realize, and they need to. This woman's on. She's on it. Developers in your town, be they residential or commercial, unless the guy lives there, he don't care about the town. I used to do this all the time with developers. Don't come to me about all the great things you're going to do for the community because I know you don't care about the community. That's my job. All I factor in is it going to lower the tax burden of the people that live here. Is it going to make their lives easier? And what's the cost to lower the tax burden from an infrastructure, traffic, etc.? I don't care about your sales pitch. The developer, unless they live there, they don't care about that town. Their job is to get the best deal for them. And I don't blame them. I'm not mad about it. That's their job. They're in business. They want to make as much money as they can. It's why you see so often at these planning commissions or these town council or city council hearings, developers make concessions at the end. They give up stuff. Why? Because they want the development. If they actually cared about the town or the city, they do it in the beginning. They do it at the end because they want to make money. I think this is going to be fascinating how this plays out. And I'm pleasantly surprised at the organized pushback on this, because I'm not saying whether the Buc-ee's is right or wrong. I'm saying sometimes when you see big names come somewhere, people just roll over and go, hey, great. Look at what it's going to do for us. These people have recognized big names don't necessarily mean stuff for us. Ask those people in Lebanon about how they're feeling right now about Meta, about Facebook, about Lilly. Business cares about business. That's their job. The job of the elected official, the appointed official, is to care about you. And your job is to advocate for yourself. And these people in Greenwood, they are advocating. And I think we're going to get one of these people on either this week or next. I got some contact information. Yeah, that'd be great. We have to send Jason out there because these people are fired up. I got some contacts from some people, and so I'm going to reach out to them later today to get the whole story. Hey, selling your home is a massive transition. Maybe the Buc-ee's is coming, and you're like, I can get the hell out of this place. That's where Lauren Wilson, realtor with At Properties, comes in. She's local. She's a Hoosier lifer. She'd love to go fight for you. She would love the opportunity to put her local expertise, her Hoosier through and through, in your corner. That means getting the right price, the best price for your home, and putting you in a place, not just to live, but they're going to be happy living for years to come. Trust your home sale, your next home buying experience with someone local. Lauren Wilson, realtor with Ad Properties. 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. All right, when we come back, Tucker Carlson said something, and I read that and I was like, yeah, I think there's a lot of people where he's at, and it's super controversial, and I don't really understand why, but I think a lot of people agree with it. We'll tell you about it when we come back. Take a break. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties. I would love to get to know you. I know that buying and selling a home is a really big deal. You need a plan in place so you can succeed. And that's where I come in. If you are buying, let me help you find that perfect home. And if you are selling, let me help you find that perfect buyer. Look, we're all Rob Kendall Show fans here. That's why I'd love to get to know you. I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties, an Army veteran and a Hoosier through and through. Call me at 317-590-2290, 317-590-2290.
Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for being with us. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. Tomorrow's show is going to be nuts. Tomorrow, Daniel Elliott, the state treasurer, is going to be with us. And we are throwing down about how the statewide and the General Assembly handled Diego. And here's one of the things I'm going to say about Dan, right? And you know I'm not happy with Dan about this, and he knows I'm not happy about him with it. But he called me the other day because he said he's coming on. He goes, look, I know you're going to let me have it on how we handled Diego. I said, I am. He goes, I'll take it. It's fine. It's fine. So he knows what he's getting into. And that's going to be a fascinating conversation about why the General Assembly, the Republican-controlled General Assembly, about why the statewide, Daniel, Lisa Shala, Micah, Rokita, Braun, about why none of them did anything about Diego. And then at the end, they're like, oh, he's got to go. I am be fascinated to see what his answer is about that. And that's, we like Elliott. He takes the smoke, man. He don't care. And then we're going to talk about this fascinating feud going on between Daniel Elliott and Micah Beckwith. Beckwith is so mad at Daniel Elliott because I don't know why, because he was courteous to people that are different than him. I don't know. Daniel Elliott was not mean enough to Muslims. I don't know. Daniel Elliott didn't say I am a Muslim. He didn't say everyone should be Muslims. I got to get to the bottom of the back and forth here because it's fascinating. One of Micah's guys was dumping on Mormons. It's like what is going on? Daniel Elliott, of course, part of LDS. That whole thing, we got to get to the bottom of it. So tomorrow, I mean, you thought the Ballard interview was big. Tomorrow, Daniel Elliott and I are going to throw down over a couple things. Then I'm going to try to get to the bottom of what exactly is going on between him and Beckwith. So that's tomorrow's show. Hey, in the meantime, guys, if you like what we're doing here, we're an all-local podcast. We're dedicated. We don't do 100% Indiana news, politics, and government, but we do an overwhelming majority. And if you like this and you like what we're doing, I mean, nobody out there's doing it. There's a couple ways you can help us grow. We call it like, share, and subscribe. Number one, like the feed. You're watching us now live on YouTube, on demand on YouTube, wherever you're at. Give us that thumbs up. Really helps us grow the program. Number 2, share it out. Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're joining us from, share it out. Let people know about this program. All our growth is organic. And number 3, subscribe to whatever feed or feeds, plural, you're listening to us on. We're also, this blows my mind. When I first started this podcast, we originated on YouTube, and then we added Apple, Spotify, iHeart, all the major platforms. People were telling me, when are you getting on Apple? When are you getting on Spotify? It's like, we're on YouTube. Well, I don't do YouTube. It's like, man, there are a lot of people out there that don't do YouTube. So if you're one of these people who's like, I'm forced to watch him on YouTube every day. No, you're not. We're on all the platforms. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, everywhere. Pretty much every major platform you get a podcast, you'd find us. Subscribe to that platform. Like, share, and subscribe. Your way, you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. And if you find us dynamic on the internet, we're even cooler in person. And you can join us in person June the 27th, this Saturday, live show, Rob Kendall Show at Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood. Come out, hang out with us, have a good time. This really is, guys, we call it a show. It's really a celebration of you. Jason and I, what you guys remember about a month and a half in, we started saying, man, what can we do just to say thanks? How can we say thank you to you guys for getting this thing off the ground? I mean, it has exploded. It was so funny when the mayor was here, and I don't think he'll mind me sharing this. The mayor was just blown away at how well we've done. And we spent, and I'm going to save the actual story for the live show because it's pretty funny, but the mayor was just like, you guys are gangbusters. And I think what happened is, because the mayor was up in Fort Wayne for the Republican convention, Mayor Greg Ballard. And I mean, I was told by multiple people, you are the talk of the convention. Now, the politicians hate you, but the people love you. And that's because of you guys. Look, if we put this podcast on and nobody watched, nobody listened, we wouldn't exist, right? The politicians wouldn't want to be here. They want to come in here. They want to be on because they know the growth. They know the influence. And it's because of you guys. And so Jason and I said, a couple months into this thing, month and a half in, we got to do something to say thanks to our audience. And so that's really what Saturday is. It's an opportunity for so many of you who have built friendships, relationships in the YouTube chat, in the Rob Kendall Show community to get together, come together. Now, look, I'm going to entertain you. I'll be up on that stage for an hour or more, and we're going to do all the stuff. Now, I got to tell you, I'm about halfway through this routine. I think it's pretty damn good. But, and then real quick, I'm going to go ahead and say this now. The end of the show, the live show, we are going to we're going to do it. Jason's going to come back on stage with me, and we're going to do a live chat. We end every show by reading the best comments of the day, the chat, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing, John McKinney, great sponsor. And so that's how we're going to wrap up the show, is taking your questions from the chat. So if you want to get those questions in, they're for the live shows. I'm not going to get to them today. What do you want to do? Just have people say, this is for the live show, question for the live show?
You have to be going.
Yeah, you have to be there because we're going to read your name. So if you're going, Jason at robkendallshow.com. Is that where you wanted to go? Email your questions for the live show to Jason at robkendallshow.com. You have to be going. Let Jason know what your screen name is, by the way, in the YouTube chat. And then the end of the show, we're going to wrap up by Jason reading some of the best questions. There'll be things we don't talk about on the show, some other fun stories, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, yes, personal questions about me. Ask about my baby tyrant who's getting ready to turn 3. Whatever you want to know, right? We would love to have you there to celebrate you, to say thank you to you. It's a show, but it's really an opportunity for us to give back and say thanks. It's a little smaller setup than we had the last time. We did that by design. You can get your tickets now. And guys, if you're on the fence, come hang out with us. We'd love to see you there. Get your tickets now. There's about, 25 tickets or so as of yesterday left. Rob robkendallshow.com. robkendallshow.com is the website, and we got a big ticket link right there. Come join us, hang out with us, June the 27th, Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood, and we'll see you there to celebrate you, the greatest listeners in the world. robkendallshow.com. Get your tickets to the live show, and email Jason your questions for the live show. Jason@robkendallshow.com. All right, let's talk about what Tucker Carlson said, because I think a lot of people are like, yep, agree with that. But first, leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home. Gramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Gramwell Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY.com, BramwellMackay.com, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialists. All right. So Tucker Carlson, fascinating figure. I mean, you guys know Tucker was like, he was a crossfire for years on CNN. He then went to Fox News. He then got his own show. That show exploded. It's interesting how much Carlson and Glenn Beck, kind of mirror each other, where they were these guys that were talked about for years. They get a show on Fox News. The Fox News show explodes, and then they kind of just wear everybody out. I was thinking about that coming into work today. I was like, that's so interesting how Carlson and Beck were kind of like on the same path. Yeah, I remember that. Beck used to cry on the air. Then they got rid of Beck and brought that five on Fox, or Fox at 5. That was a great show. Especially when it was Guilfoyle and Tarantino, or not Tarantino. What the hell was her name? She disappeared. The woman who disappeared. Andrea Tantaros. That was her name. And they had Waters, and the early days of Waters and Gutfeld and those guys. Anyway, I think Carlson, because people were like, this is different. This guy speaks a different language than the other Fox News people did. He was bolder. And somebody told me this years ago. I had a boss that told me this years ago, and he was right. He was talking about how to be different, but yet kind of appeal to the masses. And this always stood with me, because I think we're a little different. But I think we do a really good job of appealing to a large swath of people. See the ratings we had for years? See how we're doing now? Look, I'm a pain in the ass, but I listen to people. I listen to smart people who give good advice. Except for Jason. I spent years not listening to him. But, look where you are. Yeah, look where I am now. But the guy told me this. He said about your radio career. He said, there were two of the greatest side characters in sitcom history were Kramer on Seinfeld and Frasier Crane on Cheers. They were phenomenally popular. They were hilariously funny. And they spanned years of just being two of the most talked about side characters in television history. But when those shows ended, those two characters took markedly different paths. Frasier Crane, Kelsey Grammer, got his own show, Frasier, and it was essentially as popular as Cheers. It was a #1 show for years on NBC. Whereas Kramer, what happened to Michael Richards? He flamed out, literally. He had a show, I think it was the Michael Richards show. It was on for a few episodes, and they pulled the plug on it. And then obviously he had the meltdown on the comedy stage, and then he became a pariah. I think he's doing a stand-up show now. He's traveling the country. I mean, the guy's wealthy beyond belief because of Seinfeld. But you look at where those two guys went, and my boss told me this. He said, the reason that Grammer, Frasier, got the show and stood up on his own, and the reason that Kramer didn't was there was an identifiability with Frasier. He was off. He was different. He was eclectic, but he wasn't so bizarre that you wouldn't want to see him once a week for 30 minutes. It's a fine line to thread, right? Kramer in 5-minute intervals was great, right? You saw him slide in. He did some wacky stuff. He had some crazy friends. 5 minutes of a 30-minute show is Kramer. He was never the guy. When they tried to make him the guy, it failed. Whereas Frasier, there was substance to it. There was nuance to it. You saw Frasier and you saw him being a dad, right? You saw him being a brother. You saw him being a son. You saw him being a husband. Kramer, it was just one crazy thing to the next. There just wasn't enough substance behind it for people to sustain it for 30 minutes a week. And I think with Tucker Carlson, that's kind of what happened to him. And I think Beck's the same way. You see it. You like it. You like it for a period of time because it's different. But there just wasn't the sustained substance behind it. And it got to a point where people got over it. They said, I don't know, it's kind of worn me out. And look, obviously, Tucker Carlson made a ton of money. He's very successful. He's very talented at what he does. I think Tucker Carlson is infinitely more talented than Glenn Beck. I always thought that. And I thought Beck's show was great too. I just think there's a shelf life to those guys. Because I think, especially when you're dealing in the world of politics, I think sometimes it starts getting seen as more routine or script or shtick rather than this is all real. And so I think when you saw Carlson leave Fox News, he struggled to maintain his relevancy that he certainly didn't level out on Fox News. Because remember when he left Fox News, we were like, where's he going to go? What's he going to do? He can make a gajillion dollars doing whatever. It hasn't really worked out that way. Now, Beck has been more sustainable because I think Beck was more glued in to the conservative movement. I think he had more relationships, more sustained relationships, and I think that's why his radio show has continued on. I could come out of that Kramer-Frasier type of thing. But the reality is with both of those guys, they aren't what they once were. So Carlson, I think one of the problems is when you have success the way a Carlson did, and then you're outside of the medium you were once on. It's why I said, look, when we came here, I told you guys exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do 2, and then it became 3 hours a day. We're going to do probably 90% of our stuff's going to be Indiana news, politics, and government. And if you like that, we're the people for you. If you don't, there's a million other places you can hear somebody talk about Israel and Iran. And by the way, when you come here for Indiana news and news, politics, and government, we're going to give it different than you're going to hear anywhere else. We're not on anybody's team. We dislike all these people equally. And so we have been able to thrive and grow in this medium despite not being on the platform we once were. We feel like this program, as does everybody else, is on the ascend. People want to be here. They want to be a part of it because they see the numbers. The thousands and thousands of people are doing daily across all of our platforms. That doesn't happen in podcast world for a local podcast. It doesn't work that way. On a daily basis that's been around for 17 weeks. We felt we had a good business plan. We felt we had a good product. We put it out there. It's worked. But in the case of Tucker Carlson, I think without the medium, he struggled to maintain his relevancy. And when you struggle to maintain relevancy, I think you get suckered in to sort of the internet, social media sphere of I keep trying to find new people and extract them to me. I have to hang on to the people that I had. I got to try to hold on to as many of those people as I can. A lot of them won't come with me because they're fans of the platform rather than you, or if they were a fan of you, they just engage in the platform. Look, we've had that here. There's lots of people I run into that are like, hey, I hope that podcast is going well. I really miss you. I don't even listen to IBC anymore. What do you do? I listen to music now. Well, we're on YouTube, Apple. Yeah, I don't do the online stuff. I run into that quite a bit. And there's nothing I'm going to do to be able to get those people to do it. Hey, man, I can't wait till you get back on the radio so I can hear you again. But you can hear me right now. Yeah, just too much effort. Really? To download Apple? Really? YouTube? You don't ever use YouTube? It's just a reality, whether it's me, Tucker Carlson, whoever. It happens. And so you have to find new ways to bring new people in. And I think Tucker Carlson has waded more into the more extreme and bizarre because he's had to do that. And I think he's alienated a lot of his mainstream credentials that he once had. All that being said, The Hill had an interesting article. He was on a podcast called Can't Be Censored. He was on a podcast called Can't Be Censored. And he basically said on that podcast, he said, I'm done with the Republican Party. Now, whether he means that or not, I don't know. But his reasoning wasn't bad. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tucker Carlson is very angry, or at least espouses to be very angry about America's involvement in Iran. But America's, what he perceives as America fighting is Israel's war for them. Our service members, our money, Americans paying the price at the pump, inflation, etc. He's very upset about that. But the things he said, whether you're all in on Israel, you're against Israel, whether you're all in on the Iran war, whether you're against the Iran war, whatever, I think they kind of apply to the Republican Party across the board. He said, quote, the poll numbers tell a pretty clear story about it. I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance. He went on to say, not because I support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I read that, I was like, man, that really hits home. Because how often do we hear this on our show? And how often did I hear this throughout the years? When I'm critical of a Republican. So you're for the Democrats? No. So you're propping up the Democrats? No. So you want the Democrat to win? No. I have the right to not be for either side. I don't have to pick one. As much as the two parties say you have to, I don't have to. I can tell you I'm done with this party and not be for the other party. I have the right to be critical of the party in power governing me, telling me what to do, and it doesn't automatically make me for the other person. He's exactly right about that. I feel that every day. I don't know what I'm going to do. I would love for the Republicans, I would love for nothing more than the Republicans to govern like Republicans. Like, I thought it was funny over the weekend of the state party. Those people they had big fights about the party platform. And I think I might have even said this on social media. I said, it doesn't matter what the platform says. They just ignore it. Why are we fighting over it? My first convention, the only convention I went to as a delegate, that's one of the reasons I ran, the major reason I ran. I wanted to have a sway over the party platform. I was like, well, that'll make a huge difference. If it's on paper, they have to do it. And then you realize, no, they don't. They just ignore it. You, Tucker Carlson, you don't have to be for anybody by force. You can be against everyone. That's okay. That's okay. Now, like I said, Carlson is very angry. He feels lied to, betrayed about Trump, because Trump's first term, one of the great things about it was his foreign policy. And that foreign policy was staying out of the forever wars. No more ground troops in foreign countries. Trump did a great job with that in term one. And I think that was a major reason Carlson campaigned and supported Trump in 24. That we have not seen that this time. It has been a different operation. And I think Carlson feels betrayed. Quote, I voted Republican my entire life. I worked at Fox News. I've been a consistent defender for 35 years of the Republican Party, but there's no defending this because it's immoral. He's talking about Iran, about Israel, about the war. But you could apply that statement to how many countless topics. There's no defending this. The spending, the growth of government, the failure to follow through. How many times have we heard from the Republicans? We've heard you loud and clear. We've learned our lesson. Vote for us. We'll fix it. They never do. They keep spending and spending, growing government. It's what they're doing this time. I feel that. I'm not as passionate about the Israel-Iran stuff as Tucker Carlson. Look, I told you guys from the very first episode, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem from day one if Trump said, if he could prove to me there was an imminent threat. That's the big one for me. If Trump could prove to me there was indeed an imminent threat, which they've never done. He keeps saying it. They've never given us any evidence. I wouldn't have a problem with them making Iran a parking lot, putting new people in charge. But I said from the beginning, you got to do one or the other. You either got to ignore them or you got to just do it. The way Trump's handled it has been all wrong. All wrong. It's the worst possible way, and that's why the deal is so bad. That's why everybody hates the deal. You got to either just blow them to smithereens or say, well, we're just going to ignore you. And we'll do our best to hem you in economically. I just hope that works. You got to do one or the other. He's trying to find some middle ground that doesn't work. I'm not as passionate about the Israel-Iran stuff as Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson would have been livid with the thing I would have probably been okay with. But you can apply that statement, there's no defending this, to so many areas across the Republican Party. He went on to say, so no, I'm out. And if I'm out, I think a lot of other people are out too. I tend to agree with that. And I don't think it's just the people that are anti-Israel. And by the way, being against Iran, U.S. with Iran doesn't make you anti-Israel. That really grates on people. It really wears them down. Two things that I hear from people all the time that they get really pissed off about. All Israel all the time and acting like you're an anti-Semite if you don't 100% support everything Israel does and you won't spend infinite money for Israel. I hear that a lot from people. I hear that a lot from people. That to some people it is never good enough. Yeah, but like, what about all the money already given, the Iron Dome, blah, blah, blah. Nope, not enough. That is really wearing people out. And I don't think he's wrong about that. But I think, again, you can extract this out to a lot of areas. I think there's a lot of people, and I don't think it's just a corner of Twitter. They're like, man, every time you people promise to fix this stuff, and every time we vote for you, you don't do it. We expect the Democrats not to fix it. We expect you to fix it. And they don't. And look, I have no idea how the midterms are going to go. I think statistically it shows Republicans should be in trouble. But the Democrats are so bad, I don't know how much trouble. Trump's numbers are horrible. Congress's numbers are worse. Generic polling shows the Democrats ahead, but not, 10 points like you might see in a landslide. I don't know. What I know is the American people are fed up with all of it. And I think it's going to be a hard sell this fall. We'll talk about Trump's new poll numbers here in a little bit to get people to vote Republican. I think it's a hard sell when they're the party in power. We'll see what happens. Hey, tomorrow's Wednesday, guys. And Wednesday through Saturday, although I think they're closed on Saturday this week. I'll have to ask for sure. Double D's Barbecue, because Rib Fest. They're going to be at Rib Fest. Yeah, that's right. Go to Rib Fest, guys, Saturday before you come to our show. It's at the Hendricks County Fairgrounds, Double D's Barbecue. Don't miss our show. But by the way, Double D's Barbecue, I always wonder, like with these live reads when our clients here, they're like, that guy's like on crack or something. The way he does these live reads, he's all over the map. You can't, no, this is what we do, right? It's a stream of consciousness. I have a script and I just ignore it. Double D's Barbecue, Clayton, right there on 40 and 39 in Clayton. Authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. They're going to be at Rib Fest in Hendricks County this Saturday, Hendricks County Fairgrounds. They've won best sauce. They've won best ribs out there. 2-time champion. And they're open normally Wednesday through Saturday, so they are open tomorrow. And it's Wing Day. Wing Day on Wednesday, loaded baked potato day on Saturday or Thursday. Friday is Mississippi Farm Raised Catfish. Nobody does authentic wood-smoked barbecue like Double D's. Bunch of you guys have been out there. Every one of you said, it's amazing. Those loaded baked potatoes, so big, our old pal Ken Eagold couldn't even finish it. Got halfway through, he said, I'm done. It's like the guy who tries to eat the 54-ounce steak. It's like John Candy in the great outdoors. Although I guess he got done with it technically. Barely. Double D's Southern Barbecue, ribs, brisket, and more. You'll love the experience right there in Clayton, 40 and 39. Check them out on the web. Get the menu, ddbbq317.com, ddbbq317.com. Guys, we have so much left to get to. Do we have any stock market people in the chat? If we do, I'm not talking about like, yes, I have a nice portfolio myself. I'm talking about like you legitimately know how the thing works, because I have a fascinating question about the stock market. There is one stock that exploded. Now it's free falling. I don't understand how companies that lose money can have stock values like this. Like, this company has lost so much money and now it's in a free fall, but it was way up. I need anybody who knows about the stock market to answer this question for me when we come back, because I don't get it at all and it fascinates me. We'll talk about that when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. We still got an hour plus to go. Of course, our third hour going to be brought to you by John Rust. Speaking of Rust, I'm going to see him tonight. Speaking, June the 23rd, tonight. That's tonight. Indy Defenders of Liberty, 6:30. John Rust, our third hour sponsor. If you're looking for something to do tonight, I'll be there, barring something unforeseen. It's going to be at the FC Tucker building. He's speaking to the Indy Defenders of Liberty. That is located just off Ronald Reagan, right near Best Buy, Texas Roadhouse, Office Depot. And John is going to be talking about America's founding, qualities that make America exceptional, and ways to advance these principles today. So come out and support a big supporter of our show. John Rust, tonight, 6:30, Indy Defenders of Liberty. They're an awesome group. Super fan Rick Barr, the leader over there of the Indy Defenders of Liberty. And so maybe I'll see you guys tonight out there. Couple of other housekeeping items. If you haven't done so yet, give us a little thumbs up. We're closing in on 200 likes. That's always our goal. By the time Jason takes the stage for the YouTube chat, is to be at 200 likes. He's very grumpy if he doesn't have his 200 likes. And you don't want to deal with the grumpy Jason. So give us that little thumbs up if you're tuning in. If you're new, welcome. Thanks for being with us. We're so pleased as we continue to grow this program, and what we do is Indiana news, politics, and government. And we also do a little national news as well. We try to bring it back home when we talk about national stuff. We try to talk about how it affects you. Again, tomorrow, guys, that interview with Daniel Elliott is going to be nutso. So tune in tomorrow, and State Treasurer Daniel Elliott will be with us, and we're going to go at it about the Republicans' lack of response to Diego, about their refusal to deal with Diego until they thought they were going to lose the election. And full credit to Elliott. He's always a big boy. He comes in, he takes it, he gives it, and we'll have that tomorrow. So don't miss that. All right. I have a question for you people who know the stock market. And I'm not talking about you people who are like, yes, my nephew Erwin has me in Walmart, right? I'm talking about you people who actually know a thing or two about the stock market, because I have never understood this. And there's this story out about how insanely volatile SpaceX stock is. It was way up. So Elon Musk, his SpaceX, his space exploration, his AI company, he took it public. And everybody just hopped on to SpaceX. Oh, it's the greatest thing ever. Everybody was buying SpaceX. And it went way up. And then late last week, it started tanking. It went down, this is according to CNBC, it went down 5% on Wednesday, 3.6% on Thursday, and then collectively, it had lost nearly 24% over the past 3 days heading into the holiday. That's according to CNBC. Then I checked yesterday, because the article I was working off of was Monday morning. It dropped Monday from 176 to 154. Like 16% one day, guys. Like, it was crazy how far down this stock is off its high. It's only been around for, what, a week and a half? 2 weeks? And then I started reading about SpaceX. I'm like, okay, I got to learn a little bit about SpaceX. According to CNBC, SpaceX posted a $4.9 billion net loss in 2025. $4.9 billion in net loss. And it lost $4.28 billion in the first quarter of this year. I'm a public school person here. That's $9.1 billion, guys, between last year and the first quarter of this year. Lost. Now, this is the question that I have for you stock market people, because I've never understood this. Because all of these startups, right, they lose money. If you actually look at their finances, yeah, they sound cool on paper. They lose money, they lose money, they lose money. Why do people keep investing in companies that keep losing money? Why would you do that? I'm not trying to be facetious when I'm asking this. Like, I get it. I'm old, okay? I'm hitting the point of my life where I hope not, but I may start someday soon have more yesterdays than tomorrows. I'm an old person now. I'm middle-aged. I get it. Beautiful appearance exterior from the exterior. Inside could be rotting apart. I don't know. But, and maybe I have an old way of doing things, but every business I've ever been a part of, both buying and selling, has been about how much did you make over X amount of time. Like, last year we made X. Here's the cost. Here's the expense. Okay, the thing is worth blank based on that. Over the last 3 years, we've done blah, blah, blah to blah, blah, blah. Here's the expense. Okay, it's worth whatever. That's how you determine the value of a business. Why is it that in the modern era, I hear about this all the time, these tech companies, these startups, these new companies, well, they lost X amount of $1 billion. And people buy into them. Like, my podcast makes money. Most of it goes to Jason. Not a lot of money, but it makes money. Shouldn't it be worth more than something that repeatedly loses billions? Like, what am I missing here? Like, if you invested 6 months ago in the Rob Kendall show, which, by the way, I think we've told this before, multiple people generously offered to do that when we started this thing. And we graciously said thank you. They were very kind offers. We turned them down because it would have probably prohibited us getting the thing where it needed to go as fast as it needed to go. But if you'd invested 6 months ago in the Rob Kendall show, you'd be infinitely further ahead from a pure X's and O's standpoint, a pure bottom line standpoint, than where SpaceX is. Help me understand why people put all this money into, and again, I'm not picking on SpaceX. It happens all the time. If you've got a company that has lost $9.1 or more billion over the past, 16 months? Who looks at that and is like, yeah, I'm going to buy into that, like big time? Like, how do you, I get that Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, which this is making him more rich, people buying this stock, but why? I get it. You own Walmart. It makes a gajillion dollars. Here's how it works. I get it. You own Apple. It makes a gajillion dollars. I get it. 100%. But I remember, like, is Uber still losing money? How long did Uber lose money for? Is it still losing money? And what is the value of Uber? I don't get this, and I need you people who understand stocks and you understand investments to tell me why people would invest in a company that has shown no ability to make money. Not just SpaceX. I don't care whether you think it's cool what they do. There's lots of things I think people do that are cool. I wouldn't give them money for it. Why would you give money to a company that has not shown it can make a profit? I don't know. Let us know in the YouTube chat. Be kind. I'm a product of the public school system. I'm sure there's something along the way that I've missed. Hey, one thing I haven't missed is telling you about our friend Lauren Wilson. If you're looking to buy or sell your home, maybe you're going to sell your home and put it all in SpaceX. I don't know. Whatever you do with your money, that's up to you. But whatever the reason, if you're in the moving business, or you think you might be in the moving business, anytime in the not so distant future, you need a pro in your corner that's going to cut a bat and is going to fight for you. That is where Lauren Wilson, realtor with At Properties, comes in. She's a Hoosier lifer, she's a military vet, and she is passionate about helping the fine people of Central Indiana get the most out of their home and put them in a new place they're going to be happy for years to come. Downgrading, upsizing, retirement, family additions, whatever the thing might be, Lauren Wilson is here for you. Realtor with At Properties. You can call her today. Get to know her. She's awesome. She's a huge fan of our show. 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. I'm being genuinely serious about the stuff with the stock market. Look, I'm very conservative. I'm very conservative the way my investments work. Like, I get it. I'm a very risk-averse person in every facet of my life. I'm a notorious rule follower. But, like, if I were watching the stock market and I'm watching my stock, lose 25, 30% over a week, I'm sorry. I don't have the stomach for that. That's my money. I can't see it just flying out the window. And man, there's been a lot of money on SpaceX here in the last few days. Just fly out the window. That's crazy to see that sort of volatility. Stock that's only been around, a week, 2 weeks, whatever it's been. Everybody was in on that SpaceX stock. And yesterday was a disaster. Yesterday was an absolute disaster. You know my thing that I worry about with stocks, and this really bothers me? And I get you got to be in the market for a lot of people in some capacity. I'm not saying that. But I think the thing that bothers me about stocks, and it's probably the OCD, is just lack of control over it. Like some guy, I'll just pick a company. You're in Walmart, okay? Or you're in Apple. Or you're in JetBlue, whatever, right? Your financial future with that stock depends on some other guy making good choices. Right? Like, at least when I own a business, it's my fault if I don't make any money. Or Jason's fault most of the time. It's been Jason's fault. But most of our business ideas have been Jason's. The good and the bad. But at least like there, it's like, okay, it sinks or it swims on me. It rises or it falls based on me. I'm going to know if I'm in charge that this succeeded or it failed, and I got, some level of control over the thing. You think the Enron people woke up one day like they were thinking that's going to be the day? It's all over. You can't watch these people. You have no idea what they're doing. Do we really know Elon Musk is that smart? What if it's all hype? I mean, he seems very smart. He's made a lot of money on people thinking he's smart. Did Elon Musk actually build the rocket? No, he hired some guy to do it, right? I don't know. That just, I've never understood that. I'm sure very rich people who are much smarter than me have a very easy answer for that. But I've never understood why people put all this money, their stock market, their 401k, into companies that have not made a single penny. I do not get it. I do not get it. But a lot of people clearly do. All right. Let's talk about, and then we'll take a break, and we'll come back, and we'll have your best YouTube comments of the day. But we got to get to this first. By the way, just a reminder, if you haven't done so yet, you could be a part of our YouTube chat each day. Hundreds and hundreds of people giving great comments, great advice, great thoughts. We read them back, end of each program each day. It's brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. All you got to do in order to be a chatter is subscribe to the channel. That's it. Subscribe to the channel. Jason will read those coming up here in just a little bit. So the American Research Group, it's a pretty known, respected polling firm, has new poll numbers out on Trump and the economy. And I think this is very interesting because I told you guys last segment, I'm at a total loss about what's going to happen this fall. I don't know where you guys are at on this. I'm lost. And I usually don't feel like I'm this way. I usually feel like I got a pretty good idea by this time what's going to start happening. Not exactly, but a pretty good idea. And with this election, this fall, I have zero idea. Because every historical point shows me the Republicans should lose big time. Every tangible thing that I can see in front of me says the Republicans should lose big time. And these things are economy people are unhappy with, prices people are unhappy with, a war people are unhappy with, may or may not be settled, a president that people don't like. All of those things say, okay, it's going to be a really bad year for the Republicans. Yet, the polling shows Republicans are down a little bit, but not like in landslide territory. And if there's one guy you never bet against who always does his best work when his back's up against the wall, it's Donald Trump. And the biggest thing for me, despite how bad Trump's polling is and the Republicans' polling is, the Democrats are just as bad. Congress has a much worse polling number than Trump. So I don't know what's going to happen this year. It wouldn't surprise me anyway. Anything from the Republicans hang on to Democrats win everything. But here's what American Research Group had to say. A total of 30% of Americans say they approve of the way Trump is handling his job. 66% say they disapprove. Wow. 30% approval rating for President Trump. In May, 31% said they approved, 64% disapproved. So he's down 2 points since May. A year ago, and I always think probably the year over year, because we talk about polling being a flip book. It's like it's a snapshot of a moment in time. You got to put the flip book together to get the really firm idea. A year ago, he was at 38% approve, 59% disapprove. So he's lost 8 points total. At 30%, he now essentially just has his base, like his hardcore, always Trump base. And I'm not talking about Trump voters. I'm talking about people who are just like all Trump all the time. His endorsement is all that matters. It's about 30% of the country. And I think that's where he's at on the approval rating. So I don't know how some guy who doesn't have anybody outside of the loyalist Trump voter lifts people down the ballot from him, especially when he's not on the ballot. In comparison, let's go back to his first term, because I think this is a good way to judge as well. It's unique because we have a president who skipped terms. 40%, in June of 2018, 40% approved of the job Trump was doing as president, 54% disapproved. So he's about 10 points lower, but the same group, American Research Group, had him in 2018, June of 2018. When it comes to the economy, Trump gets a 26% approval and 70% disapproval. Now, again, what I don't understand is how the Democrats haven't been able to capitalize on this. I mean, the logical answer is because they have no answers either, and their positions are so extreme. And we just came out of Biden, who was a total disaster. But that's what's really interesting. Trump is, these numbers are horrible, and yet the Democrats aren't able to benefit from it because a lot of people are like, well, they're even worse. In May, it was 29% approve, 67% disapprove, so he's down about 3 points. Now, what's really interesting about it, this survey, is how pessimistic Americans have become. And I usually tend to think America is a pretty optimistic nation, or at least it used to be. Maybe not so much anymore with the social media era we live in. But I used to think America is a pretty optimistic country by default. Listen to this stat on Trump and the economy and how Trump's handling his job from this term compared to the first term. 30% of Americans say they approve of the 30% of Americans who say they approve of the way Trump is handling his job. The president is currently can get 13% to say they expect the national economy will be better off a year from now. That's of the people that approve of Trump. Only of the 30% who approve of Trump, only 13% say the economy is going to be better. Well, you can't say that's biased or hate or whatever. These are people who are saying we approve of the job he's doing. 20% say it'll be the same, and 59% say it'll be worse. Of the people who are on his team, 59% say the economy's going to be worse. How do you stay on the team if you think things are going to keep getting worse? That's my question. In February of 25, among the then 43% who said they approved the way Trump was handling his job, 46% said they expected the economy to be better in a year. We're at 13 now. So in a year and a half, we've gone from 46 who will say, hey, it's going to get better. I don't like the way it is now. It's going to get better. To 13. And only 30% said they expected it to be worse. All the numbers are trending in a bad direction for Trump. But yet, the polling data suggests not only are the Republicans not out of it, they could potentially actually pick up seats. The Republicans are down in every generic poll. But it's within an area where they could close it somehow. But I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you close. I don't know how you get better when people have entered that level of pessimism about the economy. I don't know, because economy or finance you experience every day. I don't know how you get any better when people feel that bad about the key issue. But like I said, it's one of these rare years where the opposition has no answer. They have no plan. They have no ideas. And they're just wholly unlikable. The Democrats, Chuck Schumer, Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, they're just so easy to despise. Maybe this thing plays out to a draw. I don't know. We'll find out. Hey, guys, let's tell you about one of our original sponsors. They've been with us from the beginning. You know them, you love them. Braun Mackay. Masonry color mismatch. Previous repair catching your eye. Not happy with the color of the brick around your home and ready for a total makeover? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry staining and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior, want to build something new? Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, beauty built to endure. All right, we're going to take our final break. When we come back, Jason will have the best comments of the day. But before that, I want to talk about something because we had Greg Ballard on today, that nobody's talking about the impact of the Secretary of State's race, which is the down ballot races. Look, the Democrats in Indiana have a real opportunity. They're not going to win the House or the Senate, but they have a real opportunity to get out of the super minority. And that would be real growth for them. So what sort of impact does this Secretary of State's race, because it'll be the driver, it'll be the thing everybody's talking about. What does it have, and what impact does Greg Ballard have, and his insertion, his entry into the race, have on the down ballot races? We'll take a break. We'll talk about it when we come back. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on The Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on The Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Before we talk a little bit about the impact of the Secretary of State's race on these down ballot races, or the potential impact, and then Jason will be in with the best comments of the day on the YouTube chat. Tell me about our friends at Seal Now. Your driveway is showing signs of wear, freeze-thaw cycles, environmental damage, mold, dirt, road salts. All of it can do major damage to your driveway, sidewalk, patio. And if your concrete is looking a little rough, get it back to life with the clean, seal, and stain professionals at Seal Now. Seal Now does incredible work. Outdoor surfaces, they bring them back to life. They also do a lot more than just concrete. They do wood, so your decks, fences, pergolas, you name it, they make it happen. Seal Now, the clean, seal, and stain professionals. Check out their website, sealnow.com. You can see the work of other projects, what yours might look like. Get a free estimate for your job. And best of all, if you mention you heard about them on the Rob Kendall Show, you get an incredible 20% off any long-term sealing project. 20% off any long-term sealing project. Seal Now, the clean, seal, and stain professionals. 20% off any long-term sealing project just by telling them you heard about them on the Rob Kendall Show. All right. So before we bring Jason in, obviously Greg Ballard was with us today. And I say whatever you want about the guy. Some people like him, some people don't. Doesn't matter. It's fine. Whatever your opinion is, great. I think there's some people who are they think he's the devil. I think that's ridiculous. I think there's some people who think he's the greatest mayor who ever lived. He's Rudy Giuliani, circa 9/11. I think that's ridiculous too. And I think people who take those positions, I've told them both that. What Greg Ballard, I think, was a fine red mayor in a blue city. You know, for all the people who bitch about Ballard, who do you think would get elected in Indianapolis? That's the first thing I'd love to look at those people and go, pray tell. What sort of Republican do you think would get? Now, look, you don't have to be Shreve and be like, steal all the guns. You have to be a pandering, almost said it, a pandering wussy like Shreve and just bend the knee to insanity. But Donald Trump is not getting elected the mayor of Indianapolis. You've got to convince Democrats to vote for you. Greg Ballard was able to do that. There's a certain positions and tone and everything else you got to take. The question I would ask you was the city better with Ballard as mayor than Hogsett? The answer is yes. No reasonable person would think was not better under Greg Ballard. So the middle ground for Ballard and what he's going to find is he's going to talk about the things he did well. Crime. He's good on crime. The major thing going for Ballard is he can be like, look at the city now. There was optimism around the city. It was fun to be here. People wanted to come downtown. They wanted to go to stuff. They felt safe. They brought the Super Bowl. All of these things, right? Those things he's going to talk about when they talk about his time as mayor. The other stuff is not going to matter to anybody else. It's not. As much as some people want it to matter, it's not. Greg Ballard was the best mayor you're going to be able to get. If you're conservative, Greg Ballard was the best you're going to be able to do given the makeup of the city we're talking about. And again, I think Greg Ballard's point to any of those people who hate him would be like, would you rather have me or Hogsett? I think it's a fair question to ask. But one of the things that's going to be interesting to me is the down ballot races. I'm talking about, if you get your Secretary of State is basically your top of the ticket. It's going to be the thing that drives everybody. How does, in what is be seen as probably a Democrat year, now we talked about last segment, I don't know to what extent, but probably a year in which Democrats do better than they've done in the past. How does Indiana's down ballot races shape up? We've laid out before on this show, Democrats believe they have a real chance to break the super minority in the House and Senate that they're in. They're not going to win it back. They're not even going to get close. But can they build some momentum? I mean, if you walk out of election night with Bo Bai as the Secretary of State and with Democrats out of the super minority, I think they're going to declare that a big win. One of the things that really surprised me, and I was talking with somebody about this the other day, was the office that Bo Bai chose to run for. And the person and I were talking back and forth about this, and they made a good point. They said, look, I get it, and I like Bai. I think he's a sharp dude. I think his lack of record is going to be fair game. I think his life is fair game. He's a big boy. Hurl it all at him, right? You know me. I think politics is blood sport. You run it for, to control everything from elections to businesses, all in play. I have found the interactions I've had with him, I think he's a pretty good guy. Now, is he good? Would he be a good Secretary of State? I don't know. But one of the things that was interesting to me was the office that he ran for. And I get it. He's straight out of central casting. He's probably not stopping at Secretary of State, much like his dad didn't. They probably see that as a stepping stone position. But by choosing to enter into the Secretary of State's race, made him dependent, his success potentially dependent upon who the Republicans picked. Look, I think Bai thought he was going to be running against Diego Morales. I don't think he probably predicted or saw the change that they made. And I'm sure he probably also didn't see in October, November, whenever he got in, that Greg Ballard was going to get in the race, right? Those things have not been good for Bai. Now, Ferryman is much better for Bai than Shelton would have been. Shelton would have been Greg Ballard admitted on our show. Now, he didn't use these exact words, but Greg Ballard admitted on our show Shelton would have been bad for him. If Shelton's bad for him, Shelton would have been bad for Bai. I don't think the Ballard campaign is worried at all about Ferryman. I don't think that at all. And by the way, if you want to know why we call the Republican nominee for Secretary of State Ferryman, end of yesterday's show. We explained it all to you in full detail. You guys love that. You're like, what a great nickname. Yeah, I put some effort into that one. Some of them are easy, but that one came to me in a fever dream. If you want the whole full story on it, and we'll tell it various times as we go along throughout the election, but I'm not getting into it today. Go back tomorrow, go back at the end of today and watch the end of yesterday's show. But I don't think Ferryman scares Ballard. And I think if you're if you'd said, what's the worst result for me out of this convention? It's Shelton. That ship has sailed. The Republicans have gone with who they've gone with. But I think if you're being honest, Ferryman and Ballard is a much worse setup for Bai than Bai against Diego Morales. And what I can't figure out is, will Bai be able to elevate the down ballot races, especially in the 5 or 6 House seats the Democrats have targeted in bluing areas like Zionsville, Carmel, those sorts of places where people have gotten close in the past, where more and more Democrats are moving in. Look, Becky Cash out in Zionsville, Brownsburg, she's in real trouble. She won by, 50-some votes last time. She's in big trouble. But I can't figure out what that looks like. The other thing I can't figure out, I think a lot of people will vote for Greg Ballard that wouldn't otherwise vote. We've talked about who does he pull votes from? Is it the Republicans? Is it the Democrats? I think it depends on where you're at. But I think Greg Ballard, because he's going to run in a message of positivity and being against the parties, he may motivate people to vote who otherwise don't vote. What do those people do in their other races? Who do they side with, or do they vote at all in the other races? I mean, you're talking, like I said, I think that Becky Cash race, Statehouse race, was 50-some votes the last time. If Ballard gets, let's just say it was all equal, if Ballard gets 50 new people to show up, or 60 new people to show up, where those people go in the down ballot races, which he's not going to be campaigning for either side, of course. So that's a total wild card. If they're protest votes, you would tend to think you vote against the incumbent, but I don't know that for sure. Do they even vote at all? There's so many moving parts right now, and I think it's so interesting. And that's great for us, and it's great for dialogue, and it's great for discourse, and it's great for, hopefully, at the end of this, it's great for public policy. Look, here's the thing that Greg Ballard's going to need. And there's a couple things at play here. And these are, like I said, my opinions, right? Ignore them in the order in which they're received. But I think I got a pretty good track record of understanding people. Number one, how does Greg Ballard turn in these signatures? Whatever his number ends up being, even if we're just 37,000, it's going to be way over that. It's a massive number. It's pallets of papers. And his rollout, when he turns them in to the Indiana Election Division, of course, remember, here's how it works. You turn them into the counties verify them, you take the verifieds, you turn them into the Indiana Election Division. He will have the potential. I almost made it through the whole show. Almost. I'm not sick. It's what's left in there. And damn, is there a lot left in there. My kid, it's like, I don't know what you brought home. And you know what the amazing thing is? Like after a day, she's like, I'm fine. She didn't miss daycare or anything. It's like, I asked my wife the other day, I was like, how in the hell did, this kid brought this into our lives? We both get sick. And she's like, I'll see you in the morning. How does that work? But how Ballard rolls out those signatures, I think is very important. Because I think he has millions of dollars in earned media at stake on that. How much publicity he can garner out of turning those signatures in. And that may make a lot of people believe in him. I think that is the number one question. As weird as that sounds right now, how does Ballard turn in the signatures? How much media can Ballard get across the state out of turning in those signatures? Because he needs people to believe in him. The other thing I think Ballard needs is a poll to come out to show him within striking distance of the other two parties. Like if you could get a poll, and I'm just making up numbers here, that shows Buy at 35, Ferryman at 33, Ballard at 25. Just picking numbers here. Something within 10 of the leader. And maybe it's reversed. Maybe the problem Ferryman's going to have is nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows who he is. Remember, that poll came out from Independent Indiana in the fall. That Diego Morales had been campaigning for 4 years, using his office as a 24/7 campaign machine, and no one knew who he was. The people who did hated him. But how does the Republican nominee, how does the Ferryman build his name ID in such a short amount of time? Now, they're, of course, going to give him $1 gajillion to run with, which will help him. But if he can get a poll early on, if Ballard can get something early on that shows him within striking distance of the other two, I think you got a very, very, very interesting ballgame. And I think the early polls will dictate money, and they will dictate infrastructure and support, And I think the early polls are going to depend on how much publicity he can generate over the next month as he prepares to turn in these signatures. All right. That's enough out of me today. It's time for everyone's favorite star of stage and screen.
That'd be me.
Producer Jason reads us the best YouTube comments of the day. Brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing.
Back to normal size today. That was
wild yesterday. Everything broke.
It was a crazy day.
Everything broke.
We had audio issues, had video. People didn't even see all the video crap that had to deal with yesterday. So feeling pretty good about it today, though. Looks like it's everything's flowing well.
That's right.
Should be anyway. All right, the time for the chat. So let's get to it. Brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Let me get rid of that. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. And Black Sheep Plumbing says thank you to all military, firefighters, and police officers with an American Heroes discount. Owner John McKinney, he's a swell guy, is a Hoosier lifer as well who takes pride and stands behind all his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. That tank guarantee, very important there, Rob.
Yes.
That's
yes,
right.
Yes.
Give John a call or text 765-315-7558. 765-315-7558. Black Sheep Plumbing. There we go. Give him a call. Give him a text.
Now, a reminder for the live show. Get your tickets. Live show. Saturday. Get them at robkendallshow.com. If you submit a question, you got to be coming to the event.
Right.
Email Jason a question. We're going to wrap up the show by doing a live YouTube, essentially YouTube chat. It's going to be sort of like the YouTube chat. But you have to email your questions. Jason at robkendallshow.com. Include your question and your screen name. And you can put several questions in for Jason to choose from.
Yeah. Don't just put one because if it's not, if it doesn't make the cut, sorry about that.
And put your screen name, whatever your screen name is, so that, by the way, I'm thinking we should maybe get name tags for people with so they put their screen name. What do you think?
I think we could just probably call them out and they can stand up and...
Oh, that'd be
wave,
good.
yell, raise some hell.
Anyway, that's how we're going to wrap up the show, the live show. But get your tickets coming out with us. Maybe get your name read. Saturday, June 27th, Greenwood, Mad Hatter Comedy Club. Get your tickets, robkendallshow.com. Big link, top of the page.
All right, and we're off. Wait a minute, I'm not off. Hold on. Let's get to it. All right, with the chat. Started out yesterday. Oh, who was on there yesterday? I believe it was Rock Laws was in there last night first. I always try to step in and see who's there. And then this morning it was the Old Man.
Old Man!
Old
He's
Man
back.
68. Good morning and happy Tuesday, everyone. That's how I know what day of the week it is. Sometimes the days run together. I just I look for Old Man's post, and he always fills me in. Let's get ready for another stellar show from Rob and producer Jason. MLM Warriors. Good morning, all. Happy National Hydration Day.
Oh.
Yeah, see, MLM Warriors always lets us know what day it is. Always a special day. Kevin Branham. Does that mean Beer 30 starts early today?
Oh.
Yeah, well, whatever hydrates you. The Old Man 68. I always start my day hydrating with hot, dark liquid. I'm guessing that would be the coffee.
That'd be coffee.
Yeah. That's that'll dehydrate you. But hey, I'm no nutritionist. That's for damn sure. Just finally got off the soda after 20 years. 20 years of the McDonald's morning soda.
That's right.
Yeah, that's great stuff for you, Debbie Holcomb. Happy Tuesday. Thanks, Debbie. Okay, the Old Man. Let's get ready for another stellar show from Rob and producer Jason. MLM Warriors. Good morning, all. Oh, wait a minute. I just did that one, didn't I? Yep, it's Happy Night Hydration Day, by the way. Pam Kendall, hope you're feeling better. C. Mills. C. Mills said, good morning, all. Sorry I wasn't in the chat yesterday. The doctor sent me home with some Valium.
So he did. So for the update on C. Mills, he did not have to have surgery.
Oh, okay. I did not realize that.
They sent him home.
I was going to say that'd be awful quick.
No. They thought whatever the thing he had, and he explained it to me. It was a lot of stuff, but he basically just can't drink alcohol anymore, and he's got to make some lifestyle changes. And they think it'll sort itself out, and they sent him home.
All right. I
No
think
surgery.
We need a few more likes to get to 200.
We're still under 200.
We're still under 200. How many did we need? 8 more as of a few minutes ago.
Hit
thanks
the
to
thumbs
Kevin
up
Branham. So
before the end of the show today. Really helps us grow the program.
Even if you don't like Rob, just hit that thumbs up.
Jason's very likable.
Yeah. Well, do what I can. Joseph Norris. Joseph N. Norris, not to be confused.
That's right.
Let's go with lowercase. Let's go with capital L, capital G, and let's go all capitals.
There you go.
Where are we going? I don't know, but let's go,
That's
says.
Good. I like that. That's good stuff.
Joseph's ready to jump on the train wherever it's going. He don't care. Destination unknown.
I like it.
There we are. Raquel Gutwine
joined us. She was our delegate for Jamie Rittenhour last week.
All
Yeah,
right.
she's a new part of our chat community. Welcome.
All right. She says people are very upset about the establishment, so I think he, probably meaning Ballard, might just have a good chance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jack the Libertarian. Whatever happened to Bart Peterson? He did not become a career politician.
No, he lost, and then he was a professor. He was was it UIndy?
Well, according to L.D. Stoltz, Peterson had it all and lost it, like the guy or not. Then he went on to Lilly, says.
Yeah, but I thought he was a professor too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he wasn't just a career politician.
No. He never went back. Anything. Nothing.
Yeah, he lost that because he did a bunch of exclusive advertising for Ballard.
Yeah.
I remember that. All his commercials were, my dad was alive at the time, and I remember him saying it. Had no idea who this guy was, this Ballard guy, but I think I'm going to vote for him. And because I keep seeing his commercials, like, Dad, that's Bart Peterson's commercial. I know it is, and that's why I'm voting for him. Bad move.
Yep.
So Dad liked to do it that way.
Unless your opponent has committed some sort of crime against humanity, some really big thing,
mm-hmm.
You're threatening he'll run a negative ads. Because you're giving the guy, whoever you're running, gets free publicity.
All right, we're up to 206 on the line.
That was a quick response 14. You guys are the best.
You guys are great. All right, let's see. Charles Looney. Good day, Robbleheads. Only 3 days left till the live show. That's right. We will be there. LD Stoltz, the ferryman.
That's right.
Yep.
How many of you guys went home and watched or pulled up the ferryman and listened to it last night?
Yeah, Sue Seifert's the ferryman. Robert Schwartz, okay, if I'm wrong and the Republicans don't find a way to keep him off the ballot, meaning Ballard, who does he pull the most votes from, by or Engling? Still believe the Republicans did what they needed to do.
Well, that's what we just talked about. And I think it kind of depends on where you're at. I think he sort of, what the interesting thing about that interview to me was, I asked him, I said, what is the Lincoln Party?
Mm-hmm.
And he basically said, I was like, look, I like this. I don't know whether most people will. He's basically said, we're going to be mercenaries because, and this was interesting, one of the things he's running against is the rigged balloting process, the gerrymandering.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And he said, because these districts are so gerrymandered, we're going to create competition because we can make the Lincoln Party whatever we want to make it in whatever district we're in.
When did he come up with the name, the Lincoln Party? Did you ask him that?
No.
And all your softball questions?
Abe Lincoln, right? And I was like, that's brilliant. So, like, okay, where I live, Brownsburg, right?
Mm-hmm. Is that right? I had no idea you lived in Brownsburg.
Let's say, okay, Jeff Thompson wins the primary. The
that guy.
Yeah. He wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now he's out of the woods because it's a safe R district. He's got a Democrat running against him, I think, but he's going to win.
Right. Okay.
Now you throw Lincoln Party into the equation with ballot access, and they say, okay, Brownsburg is a Republican area, or Thompson's district is a Republican area.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find a conservative to run there to punish Thompson. Okay, boom, right? Well, let's look at the mayor of Indianapolis. We know the Republicans are going to nominate a total turd and Shreve. The Libertarians may not even have ballot access next year.
Mm-hmm.
They could run a left person against Osley or Hundley or whoever the Democrats pick, because that's how they're going to hold these politicians accountable. No more free pass in the general. They're going to try to target their candidates based on the district and the makeup of the district to hold the politician who wins the primary accountable. It's basically like a bunch of the Kill Bill people, like they're rogue mercenaries.
Right.
District. I love this. That would be so chaotic. That would be awesome.
Jim Tennecore, Rob, and Jason, will the Republicans get the message more with Buy or Ballard winning the election? What would their takeaway be if Buy won versus what would their takeaway be if Ballard won? Will they have learned a lesson? What lesson would that be, Rob?
Oh, that's such a good question.
I just added all that there.
Yeah, I think that's such a good question. I'm not sure I'm not sure these people will learn a lesson because they never look in the mirror.
Wouldn't it be more devastating for the Republicans if Buy wins because the Democrats have no shot typically, and if they win, all of a sudden, do we need to change the strategy? Versus Ballard, who basically was a Republican until he was shunned by the Republicans. His views are Republican for the most part, running as an independent. It's like, well, basically another Republican won. We don't need to change the thing.
You're probably right because Buy scares them because they think he's going to run for something else. You know, and look, the real thing that probably scares about two things. One, they think he's going to run for governor.
You don't think if he wins Secretary of State, he'll just go off afterwards and go back into private sector?
Like Shelton, he just wants to go administer some elections? Yeah. No. But the other thing that scares him about Buy is, and depending on how much they piss Ballard off, he might do this too. Buy's going to open all the stuff, right?
Right.
On whatever Diego did the last 4 years.
Right.
And I think that really scares the Republicans.
Well, I mean, isn't that what Mears' job is?
Well, I think somebody's got to bring a case to the prosecutor.
Yeah.
You know, or he's got to launch his own investigation, which usually
Didn't
takes
he do that?
Public
wasn't that reported?
Who knows, right? That's why. Hey, by the way, has England called publicly for that special investigator to be appointed?
I don't think.
Did he have that press conference yesterday?
I don't think publicly.
We've got him on tape saying he's all for it.
He's for it personally.
Yeah.
We know. All right. Robert Schwartz noticed that Diego Morales lost. Yes, we did. Not a word out of him. Good bet that he was negotiated out. The Republican Party likely gave him a guarantee that no investigation is coming. They don't have control over that, though. They're in Marion County.
Well, they would have control over it.
You're not buying Mears off.
No, but
you know,
look,
of course, there's a lot of incompetence there, but you know.
Okay. Look, the prosecutor can launch their own investigation, as we saw clearly is taking place or did take place, or who knows what the status of that is with the lieutenant governor, right? There clearly was an investigation. A grand jury was convened. We know that, right? That's no secret. But a lot of times investigations emanate out of law enforcement and then are brought, state police, whatever, and then are brought to the prosecutor. IMPD, whatever. Who would? I think probably state police would handle that. But the inspector general can certainly, whenever they want, which is serving under a Republican government.
Right. Well, there was a deal. I mean, obviously, what happened to Diego? He was up there smiling, grinning and everything, thought it was great that England won on the stage.
Yeah, how do you go? Was he up there with him?
I believe so.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
No way.
Okay, well, maybe I can't guarantee that. I thought I saw that.
No.
Okay.
But how do you go from the babbling out of touch reality that we heard, a week ago?
He's just happy he got away without having to pay.
Where's he at?
Yeah. All right. Don B. Ballard was elected in large part by a massive anti-Peterson grassroots movement. I was there. We did everything imaginable to raise awareness of Ballard's challenge. It worked. I think the Peterson commercials worked more than anything. And if you go back, you'll see that I am correct there. Not that you're not correct, Don, because I'm sure you worked hard and obviously paid off. Congratulations.
Like I remember, because I was in college at the time, I remember being, because was too cheap to buy the parking pass at IUPUI. So they had a bus service. And you used to park way off campus. They come get you.
You just thought you would meet chicks on the bus.
Yeah.
You thought.
Trust me, the people you met on the bus were not people you'd want to go to a date with. But and nothing made you more attractive to girls than when you get out of class, you'd be talking and they'd be like, "Okay, go to my car. Yeah, I got to hit the bus here.
Right.
Thanks. You'll want to see my house. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. Wait till you see my car.
I remember hearing those anti-Ballard ads on the bus, right? And that was before I was involved in politics or anything, right? But I remember hearing those going like,
he's a conservative.
Like, why are they being so brutal to this guy, right? And it was same thing. Your old man thought,
right? Charles Luty, Ballard appears to have about as much energy as Shelton. He needs an espresso. He was pretty lively, actually, for
But
Ballard.
that was the way Ballard was.
Well, he's
older
guy. I mean, he's not.
Yeah, it was 20 years ago.
He didn't come and do a bunch of jumping jacks.
But he wasn't, he wasn't Richard Simmons or Mick Jagger or Donald Trump when he ran 20 years ago. I mean, he wasn't, Mr. Ball of Energy. He wasn't, I don't think that's his personality.
Continuing on with Ballard, Robert Schwartz. Greg Ballard may have name recognition. Dare we say that name recognition is probably limited to a 50-mile radius of Indianapolis.
I would say he will do very well in Marion and the Donut counties.
That's where most of the people are. So
what he's got to do, and this is what the Libertarians
to
can never figure out how to do because it involved effort and raising money,
right?
Was you got to figure out how to get into those four corners. And your messaging in central Indiana, because people know you, is going to be different than the messaging you're going to have in the four corners of the state. I think Ballard will have the money to do that. But yes, I agree with you. He's got to clean up in Marion and the Donut counties.
I mean, he made a lot of noise up in Fort Wayne over the weekend as well.
He stole
got a lot of signatures up there. Now, were those people that were at the convention pissed off about what happened inside, or were those, some Fort Waynians? I'm sure that's not
what happened to the guy in the Shelton shirt who got photographed signing.
Well, so they cut the head off there, fortunately, for that.
I think they found out who it was.
Person. All right, Robert Schwartz again. If you went to Madison, Linton, Warsaw, and asked 10 random people if they knew who Greg Ballard was, would be interested to hear that response. Maybe I'll do that one day.
Well,
that would be kind of fun.
Yes, I would agree right now. But again, this is what I come back to. He has got to do something very special when he turns those signatures in, because that's going to be his opening salvo to get all that media attention. And I agree, if you ask that same question in October and people don't know, because how many of them know who Max Engling is? Right?
Well, he's the anointed.
Right.
So, okay, he's got the R.
Right.
Both straight tickets.
Great.
Boom. There he goes. But just that's how Diego got it.
If you ask somebody in October they don't know, then Ballard's got a real problem. Doesn't really matter right now. Because he's got all this time and money to be able to.
And money. Yep. And signatures. Chris Chafin, the summer of Rob is happening.
That's right.
There we go.
This could be the greatest summer of my life.
Buc-ee's.
Other than my daughter was born.
Well, that's true, yeah. You got married there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Other than my daughter was born.
I was there. Yeah. You got married before the daughter was born.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a way to play it. Chris Chafin, it's well known that Buc-ee's pays well. We're on Buc-ee's now. Buc-ee's in Greenwood.
Yeah.
So they say that they $18 to $20 an hour, which if you're used to making $12.50 or something,
that's good wage.
I mean, no complaints about that. But how many of those people? Again, you mentioned Greenwood. Okay, well, Worthsville Road is exit 95. Main Street's 99. Main Street is a constant cluster. It's just constantly, there's it all comes down to one lane that goes through under the interstate to get from the west side of the interstate, which is where the truck stops are right now, and all the Amazon and all that stuff. Amazon is north of exit 99 from Main Street. Just to give everybody an idea, there's a ton of Amazon up there, but it's north of exit 99. So we're talking about exit 95. Now, exit 99, which is Main Street, is terrible. You will have to use that to get to the show on Saturday, but that's okay because it's Saturday.
Right.
You'll be fine, and you'll get off the interstate. You'll go east, and it's right around the corner. You're right around the corner is where you'll find the Mad Hatter. So no problem whatsoever.
Get your tickets at robkendallshow.com. We're doing it as a tribute to you people. We call it a show. It's really our opportunity. We're going to entertain you, but it's really our opportunity to say thanks to you guys.
Yes. So exit 95 is Worthsville Road. There's nothing on Worthsville Road. On the east side of Worthsville Road, you go about a mile with a 25-mile-an-hour speed zone because they got a bunch of schools lined up there. And
brilliant.
But to the west of the interstate, there's nothing but farmland, right? So naturally, the city leaders are going to look at that. They're going to build, they say, and I'm going to spit this out quick, a brand new Greenwood out there.
Oh,
they're going to have a brand new town center. They're trying to do like Noblesville and all that in there. They just want to basically leave the rest of Greenwood to the slum and build a brand new Greenwood out there. So you're going to have Buc-ee's there. And the problem is, I think, with people, what they're saying is the people that live out there, and you're always going to have the not on my,
right.
Okay, you got farmers out there, people that don't want the noise, the traffic. You're going to have a lot of semis. The problem is when you put that huge Buc-ee's in there that most of the locals won't use, you're then going to open up the door for the Shell station and another Speedway and a Burger King and a McDonald's, and they're going to start building all that back out through there. And again, the traffic, they just did not account for the traffic in Greenwood that has flooded down there in the last 4, 5, 6 years. Everybody moving off the east side to get their kids out of the east side down to Greenwood, and it's just the roads. The Smith Valley Road is 2 lanes for forever, and they want to 4-lane it, but that will take forever to do it. If they do need to build new infrastructure on Worsville, that's going to clog everything up. You're going to have the dump trucks, all that out there as they build all that. And that's what I think people are complaining about. And naturally, you have the people that say, hey, that's just progress. And, sorry, Mr. Farmer, but you're the one making money off selling that land. And if you didn't sell it, you should have sold it. And that's just progress. But that, I think, is what – and then people are throwing in the local the town chatter thing. That, hey, $18-20 an hour, I'll take that job. Some people say the managers can make $100,000 a year.
Damn.
But are they coming from Greenwood?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Are they sending them in?
Yeah.
Are they training you to become a manager and paying you $100,000,
right.
a resident from Greenwood? And then, as you said, last point on this from me, Exit 95, that is kind of the southern edge of Greenwood. So you're going to have employees and everything coming from Whiteland, New Whiteland, Franklin. So it's not just a huge benefit for Greenwood in the aspect of wages and things like that.
Yeah. All right. So we're trying to get somebody
10-minute
on later
take.
this week or
Sorry.
early next week to talk about this because it's a big deal and I got a couple names to reach out to.
Okay. So and just a few comments here. I guess we'll let other people comment on it instead of just me. But LD Stoltz, who eats at gas stations? I don't get it. It's not just it's not. I mean, they have gas, but of course it's a huge restaurant, a big thing. You take the kids, it's playland and all that good stuff. That's what they say. Don B, they take Paradise and put up a Buc-ee's lot.
A
little play on the old, who was that chick that sang that back in
Joan
the day?
Baez?
There we go.
No, was it Joan Baez?
Yeah, and then somebody else redid it much better.
Yeah, who the hell was it?
Took out that was like Tool, not Tool.
No, not Tool.
Whatever. Okay, it'll come to me.
It wasn't the Black Crows, was it?
No, absolutely not. It was one of those Train, I think.
No, there was another one, though. There was a whole bunch of people that redid it.
All right, anyway. Bowden JM. Isn't that I-65 exit for Buc-ee's where there are Amazon warehouses and traffic already a mess? No, that's exit 99 Main Street. In Belore, I'm all for the Buc-ee's being built somewhere in Indianapolis, maybe not Greenwood, but if not in Greenwood, where? Vic Ferrari, Whitestown. They get everything in Whitestown, whether they want it or not. All right. In Belore, why am I in favor of Buc-ee's? Lower gas prices, generally speaking. Probably do have, since they would have a massive wholesale gas, they probably would be a little cheaper there. They do bring people to the area. It's a whole experience, and almost everywhere I turn, people talk about making special trips. So people are saying, well, maybe they'll bring the kids up to Buc-ee's and they'll spend an hour or two, and then they'll slide on over into Greenwood, but that's a stretch because it's not close to anything in Greenwood.
Right.
That is, those exits are way, way from anything that you would go into Greenwood to do.
Yep.
So that would be my perspective. Mad Duck Diego, okay, I guess we're back to Diego, would still be in if no noise had been made. Rob.
That's right.
Rob Kendall. Other people take credit, but okay.
Some people got mad because I said Ballard took down Diego.
Right.
I mean, look, here's the
gallery.
Here's the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I exposed Diego. Absolutely. And we're going to talk with Daniel Elliott tomorrow about this. And we were the voice, right?
Right.
But in terms of getting him out,
it was a goofy topic that you were always on when you talked about Diego.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nobody. All the politicians were like, "He's an ass. He's making it up.
Yeah.
He's a shock jock.
Yeah.
He's a this. He's a that."
Going for ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went from 200 to 240 people. That's because Rob just.
And it's irrefutable. They moved as soon as Ballard got in the race.
Mm-hmm.
There was a clear panic by the Republicans. It wasn't Buy was in since October.
Mm-hmm.
It was as soon as Ballard got in that all of this started to change.
Right. Okay.
How often do I give up credit for anything?
Yeah. There we go. Andy Engel, also managers at Buc-ee's make like $150,000.
No kidding.
So I hear. Well, that's what he says. So I hear.
Oh.
And that's what I heard. But I mean, I believe they're shipping that guy in from another Buc-ee's with the experience. I mean, come on, you're not going to get hired at $18 an hour and be. You know what? We like the way you work. We're going to raise you to $150,000 a year.
Yep.
All right. Congratulations. You won Life's Lottery. Bowden J at Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Bowden JM. Another exit is what? I-65 and Main Street, Greenwood, totally undersized east of I-65, like I was just saying, for all the warehouse semi-trucks. And it's not just Amazon. It's there's a billion warehouses there, he says. Not a billion, but you could be close. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Imbalore, and we'll get and we'll do a couple more here about Buc-ee's. I am not a fan of putting anything else on Main Street and I-65. That exit is a nightmare. Way too much traffic for the area, not properly built for. And again, it's exit 95, but exit 95 to exit 99 is only 4 miles, and it's basically a little industrial stretch. So, yes, people will be trying to come out because it's going to clog, especially when it first opens up. Everybody within an hour radius is going to be coming to the Buc-ee's, plus the regular travelers, and it's just going to clog up, and everybody's going to be looking for ways to get around. They're going to be throwing their bags out the window because that's the way people are these days. Okay. Let's get off the Buc-ee's here. Hey, let's talk about Chris Spangle. Chris Chafin?
Yeah.
Chris Chafin. Chris Spangle has a good post today on Facebook about the importance of Ballard on the ballot.
Okay. Well, he was our former landlord. We like Spangle.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, now we're off the Buc-ee's, I think. I'm sure one will pop up here, but we're talking about the Carlson. Tucker Carlson, Glenn Beck.
About
another
3
one.
minutes left.
Okay, what?
Yeah.
Wow, this has been fast. Okay, so he says, Andy Engel. I always thought Hannity was kind of boring. I agree. Mark Levin is another one. God, he's so boring.
Oh, he's bad.
And he says Levin is super smart. He is super smart, but man.
He's bad.
But yeah, I mean, he's not entertaining. Rush was truly the gold standard.
Totally.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
There'll never be another Rush.
Yeah, Vic Ferrari. Andy, I liked Beck up until he started getting sideways. That would be when he started crying because he thought the world was coming to an end or
That's
something.
right.
That was
He's
really
kind of
weird. It made people freak out. People like, is there something going on here we're not aware of? I mean, that when he was like crying that we were like in the midst of a nuclear war or something.
That's a shtick? You think he was, or he's just nuts?
I think he was just kook.
Yeah.
You know, he was one of those guys that he had a lot of drug problems, a lot of alcohol problems. And he was just, I mean, and not that that's people do, that's okay. But I'm saying he just kind of really went out there, and I'd never listened to him, so I don't know if he's mellowed out or not. The old man 68, I liked Tucker when he co-hosted with the liberal who looked like The Walking Dead.
Oh, that's right.
I think, wasn't that
that was Combs.
That was Hannity and Combs.
Yeah, that was Hannity. But Tucker was on Crossfire. He was on with a liberal, too. That was the whole deal. But I don't know if the same guy. Yeah, but that was Combs.
Okay. Sue Seifert, I'll take Carlson over Beck any day. McLovins. Oh, we get McLovins in here. Hey, Rob, random question. Did you manage to get rid of your yearly bird nesting problem?
No, they come back every year. That's my old man's job. He takes great pride.
BB guns, Rob. BB guns.
Every year, my old man takes great pride in every day going over there and knocking that nest down at the end of every day and just piss those birds off. But they're done this year.
Right.
Usually by end of June, they wear out, and every year they come back, and every year they just knock it down every day. That's all we do.
Oh, a new one in the chat. John M. Michael Savage is the GOAT. Michael Savage, yeah, he was pretty good.
He's good.
He's not around locally. Maybe we can do something about that.
I used to. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I used to listen to Savage all the time when I was younger. I like Savage.
I think that's an excellent suggestion. We were thinking about something like that. C Mills, couple left. C Mills, Double D's has better brisket than Buc-ee's.
Oh, there you go. No doubt.
And the final comment of the chat today, and there's a bunch more that I highlighted and couldn't get to, goes to, I believe, a new one, Dustin Hornaday.
Okay.
Guys.
Hello, Dustin.
You know Dustin?
No, I don't know Dustin.
Okay.
Maybe I do. I don't know.
Well, you know.
I know a lot of people.
All right. We haven't been introduced yet. Dustin Hornaday. Guys, I have John with Black Sheep Plumbing here at my house.
Oh, awesome.
Called him last night.
Oh, that's great.
And he is here first thing in the morning. Call John for help. He's been great this morning.
Wonderful.
There we go.
Love to hear it.
You can give him a text at, what would that number be there, Rob? That would start with a, let's see, it would be, God dang it, get that off there. Let me hold on here. Hold on.
Do you need me to filibuster?
No, I'm filibustering quite well, I do believe. 765, there you go. 315-7558. 765-315-7558. If he's still at Dustin's house, give him a text and say, John, thanks for sponsoring Rob's show.
That's
we
right.
Appreciate it. We hear you every day, and we love that you give Jason an opportunity to be on Rob's show. Otherwise, Rob would never let Jason on. So that'll do it for me, Jason. We'll see you next time. So long, everybody.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. You guys are awesome. Have a great rest of your Tomorrow's show's going to be crazy. Daniel Elliott will be here. We're throwing down over Diego. You guys are the best audience in the whole world. Give us a little thumbs up if you haven't yet before you leave. Share the feed out to the masses. Don't forget the tickets to the live show. Find them right there, robkendallshow.com. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been watching Rob Kendall Show.